everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. So my name is AJSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
So before we get to it, first thing, if you don't care about anything in particular that you want to hear, in the description you'll see a breakdown of the episode and you can jump ahead to when we actually start talking about the songs. Before we get into anything else, I just wanted to say that we're doing some kind of a contest thing. The details are still being finalized, but the gist of it is, if you subscribe to the channel, if you like the video, and if you comment on the video something about the review or about the album, what's going to happen is when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving out some Amazon gift cards. So $100 will be given out to the first place, etc. For every video that you like and comment on, you'll get an additional entry into this raffle. And then once the video comes out, the raffle closes.
Yeah.
So that's how it's going to work. On that note, Chris, why don't you tell us what album we are discussing today?
Well, for this week's Classic Quest album, we decided to go with Eminem's album, The Eminem Show.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So we all were preparing for Revival's release because we foolishly trusted the internet.
Oh my God.
I was just being such a stan. I'll admit
I wonder
it.
what he was thinking.
He was enjoying himself,
I
trolling
bet.
us all.
Was.
I listened to like Shade 45
Yeah,
for the
we
first time in
tuned
my
in.
life.
Yeah.
Like Lord
We tuned
Seer,
in.
that show, we listened. Eminem was laughing at us. I was at work trying to dodge around like meetings and stuff. Like, fuck, is the album coming out?
Yep.
Guys, let me know what's going on. And then no, it didn't. And
Sadly.
it hopefully comes out soon. But whatever. Eminem, the Eminem Show. We're going to do that now anyway, just because, I mean, it's not as cool as if it was also with Revival, but it's a personal favorite. I'm not even going to lie.
Yep.
I still own this motherfucker right over here.
Look at that.
I'm
boy.
just saying,
Look at
like,
that.
I went and found him over there.
Very nice,
Like,
very nice.
I don't know. I was like, 14, 15 when this shit dropped.
I was 8.
Eminem had been out for a minute. Like, I'd already heard The Way I Am. I'd already had my mind blowing.
Yeah.
But now I was kind of old enough to sort of maybe understand, like, half the album as opposed to, like, the none of the album of being younger.
Yeah.
And I also discovered I could rap along, and that was quite fun. So, like, this is one of the few albums in my life where I can say, like, to death, I listen to it back to front over and over. Keep in mind, everybody, over 10 years ago, really, since I last gave it that kind of love. Like, we're talking high school, and it's been quite some time since. But, like, when I started spinning it, I found myself knowing most of it still by heart. Like, it's such a great album to me. Like, if you want to... we talked about Eminem a whole bunch already. This is, like, our, third Eminem video? So, if you click...
no.
I think it's the second, no?
No, it's our third. So if you click above where the logo is now and the thing pops up, you can go back to the first one we covered, which was the Marshall Mathers LP,
Yep.
and you can hear all about how we feel maybe and go through it.
Right, 'cause we
But
did the
also-
Slim Shady too.
Also, if you want to go chronologically, you can click above now again, and you can hit the Slim Shady LP review that we did. So anyway, now we're at the Eminem Show. So yeah, I love the album. I like Eminem. Everybody knows Eminem. How do you guys feel?
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, of course, I was young when the album actually dropped.
Just a wee little child.
But when I was old enough, I stumbled upon it when my parents were listening to it. I probably walked in on, I don't know, Business or even White America, maybe.
America.
One of those. Probably the intro. And then I full on started watching Much Music and MTV and stuff like that.
Hold
and
on,
then,
just to be clear for you guys, in case you don't know, Much Music is our version of MTV. in
Yeah, it's
Canada.
the Canadian version. But, I mean, I feel like you guys know that. I don't know.
Just in case you didn't know. Just for the people who don't.
fair.
Okay.
And then I started seeing the video for Cleaning Out My Closet, for Superman, for Sing for the Moment, like even Without Me, like I was on the whole music video flex, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, those were good days.
But I was like, what, 11, 12 at that time?
I don't know. I was like, I can vividly remember like Sing for the Moment's video dropping. I can remember every single of that album coming out when it did. I remember discovering the Superman video after, and I was a teenager, so it was exciting that there were boobies in that.
All right.
Honestly, this album, we'll get through it. There's one song I'm not a fan of, I think everyone out there knows what song that is, but in case you don't, when we get there, we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's pretty freaking magical. I don't know if you guys have feelings about Eminem to share your experiences with it, Bonnie.
I mean, like, I didn't own this album. I didn't, like, it wasn't my favorite one. I didn't know that much about it, like, now that I'm listening to it. But there's a lot of good hits on it. And I think I, like, vaguely remember, like, listening to it in, like, my sister's boyfriend's car, and, like, he was playing it. So, yeah, I mean, I have good memories of it. I think, Without Me, I have, like, the best memory, which I will tell you when we get into it. But yeah, I think it's a good album.
All right, we could talk about the cover. Yeah, that's right, the cover. And this is just like, I don't know, I've seen this so many times. Just Eminem sitting there.
He tends to like sit a lot on his
but
album
this time
covers.
it's clearly like and now that we've talked about his older ones, it's like we've seen the setting change so drastically, and now it's like he's on stage and his life's on show.
This is the second one he sits on. The first, I mean, Slim Shady, he's standing.
Sure.
Well, maybe the ones that we've reviewed, but I've definitely seen him like.
Well, he
sitting.
did on in the last one, the Marshall Mathers LP.
but I think
he was sitting in
maybe
front of his like.
Recovery. I don't know, or is he walking on the road?
Well,
I can't
Recovery,
remember.
I think is that no
Recovery
is him walking on the road. Relapse is his face is a bunch of pills.
Yep.
Maybe. Anyways.
MMLP2, I think he's like crouching next to his house, or
Yeah,
is it just the
it's that
house?
No,
one.
it's just the house. MMLP2
just the house.
is just the house.
And then
the first one is
Revival
where he's
is
Maybe-
this
maybe I
joke
misspoke.
that he's playing on us, and he's laughing at everyone, and we're foolish. So fuck me.
Yeah.
I love the cover because, like, for me, I really, now that you say it, it does tie back a bit to the MMLP 1, where he's sitting there in front of this broken surroundings where he comes from, and now he's still that broken guy sitting there.
But now he's like
his life's on stage. It's a show. It's a theater.
But I feel like I feel like, because I remember in the MML Marshall Mathers LP 1, he's kind of like, looks like he's in a straitjacket a little bit. Like he's more crazy.
Yeah.
He's more like in a I want to say broken place.
You're right.
I feel like here he's more conscious about what's like. Not, I mean, I guess you could say like on the stage and they're like a different.
But I think that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is more composed, but he's trying to draw that parallel because he is that same guy, just in this new setting. I love the title, The Eminem Show. It is just.
It's like everybody watches him.
It reminds me, maybe the Truman Show had come out around now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's the kind of guy that would have watched the Truman Show, I bet. We all did. Everybody watched the Truman Show, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you watched the Truman Show, let us know in the comments below. I know
If
it's
you
completely
haven't.
unrelated, but and if you haven't,
Still, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
And then you gotta watch
then
it.
go watch the Truman Show. Anyway, the first track on this album, skit/show, is Curtains Up.
Yeah.
Well, this one's a little bit on the shorter side. You'll
Yeah,
have
30 seconds.
a curtain opening,
You can hear it
footsteps,
being drawn.
tapping on the mic, a cough,
Was it?
and then it flows right into the next track.
Yeah.
Yep. I gotta. It's clearly a curtain, and it's clearly opening, but I got this movie feel. Like the way the curtain was going up sounded like an old projector type starting up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's starting like a little bit of movie.
I pictured like a theater play more. Like
No, that is clear. I'm saying like I had like another kind of lucid thought of it. I was like,
Yeah.
it was cool how
Understood.
there's another feel to it for me, I guess.
It feels
That's
like
cool.
it could be like a big old movie. I think he's trying to like put it out like that. I'll be honest. If I'm listening to the album, never gonna skip it because it's like short and it kind of fits.
That's right. It's the very beginning.
But like, say this just popped up in the middle of my shuffle, it would totally obscure my shuffle. It's an excellent opening. It is one of like,
Yeah.
Well, I
it
mean,
really
that
fits
depends
this
how,
album.
That depends how much of a banger the next track is.
It's true. But like really, like it's a great opening.
If it's like Celine Dion, then
It's,
maybe
right.
not so much.
Anyway, I give this a 4. I think it's a proper way to start the album, but these skits work only within the realm of the album, and within the realm of the album, they're excellent. So that's why it's a 4.
Yeah, same. I gave it a 4. I thought it was a great start. I mean, it's just, opening the show, and that's what it is. And he goes right into the next song. Yeah, that's it. 4 and a 5.
4 on 5 as well. It's an opener. It sets the tone of the album. It plays off well with the name of the album and the album cover.
Awesome.
Great.
Let's talk about White America.
All right.
Lady school, baby. Look at myself. Let's do the math. If I was black.
I won't forget seeing this music video for the first time with the weird, like, kind of cartoon 3D animation type shit going around. I was a white kid at a black high school discovering what rap was, and then this shit dropped, and I was an angry teenager going through some shit. Anyway, it was, holy fuck, my mind was blowing. Like, it was a single, clearly. I don't know. Like, right off the front, what a powerful song. This song addresses some real fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's called White America, but he's not necessarily, like, being a little, like, in the modern-day racist kind of shit where you might get your imagination running.
Yeah.
So let's clarify a little bit here. So the first verse addresses, like, how on the world could he have predicted that he would turn into what he turned into? Like, there's no way he could have. He was just doing his shit.
Yeah.
He's questioning it, yeah.
Verse 2, he kind of addresses his fame, and it's only because he's, like, white, and he knows it. And in the third verse, it's kind of flat out calling people on how now that rap's hit suburbia and it's impacting their kids, it's all a fucking problem. Like, I quoted lyrics here because it's fucking crazy. First of all, it's slower, right? Like, it's not, like, crazy fast Eminem. It's like that I would catapult to the forefront a rap like this. How could I predict my words will have an impact like this? I must have struck a chord with somebody up in the office because Congress keeps telling me I ain't causing nothing but problems. You know? And then, like, already he's going political, which is why, like, when people were going nuts over that verse he dropped a couple of weeks back there,
He's been doing this since the beginning.
It's like, bro, I remember Mosh. Mosh isn't even on this album.
Yeah.
Like, come on. White America, he's coming in. He's like, this is all fucked up shits. And then he's like, in the second verse, just like, let's do the math. If I was black, I would have sold half. I have to graduate from Lincoln High School to know that, but I could rap, so fuck school. I'm too cool to go back. Give me the mic. Show me where the fucking studio at.
Which I find is a little funny because, and it's like stereotypically, when people think of rappers, I think I generally get people who go like black people.
Yeah.
And then I like how Eminem is like, if I was black, right, he wouldn't make as much, and I'm like, it's fun. It's not funny, but it's very striking to kind of see that correlation that he's making. That
And
connection.
he's like, especially like playing with and like enhancing those stereotypes of what a white person is supposed to look like, you know, with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and he's cute and whatever, and then he's able to, like, that's how he gets into, like, the houses and the homes of, like, all these, like, people.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the whole cute part and his blue eyes and all that, he was saying that it's not just enough to be white. I had to be blonde-haired. I had to be blue-eyed.
He had to play being white,
I had to be, like, the stereotype of, like, who your kid could be, you know? And I had to be good-looking, and I think it's just trying to contextualize this vanity. It's like, as long as you're right, as long as
like,
he played
like generalism in a sense.
Well, like, yeah, as long as he played the part of this white rapper, Eminem would have been like the biggest thing, and he just worked out. Like, ugly Eminem also would not have been better than black Eminem. You know, like, that's what he's trying to say.
And like he wasn't getting signed by any of like the regular, you know, like white guys who were like the heads of like the big companies, but I mean he was signed by Dre because Dre saw something that was like special and unique about him.
Well, you lit a fire under his ass.
But yo, man, it's just even the idea though of just fuck school, I'm too cool to go back. I mean, it sounds like he's joking and he's saying some shit, but
I wanna
it's like he's saying like, don't just waste your time, go chase your dreams, do what you got to do what you can do.
Of course, of course.
What I have to say is he packs so much into this song.
I like when he just to go back to a point you made. That you said. I like when he touched upon how rap is suddenly or hip hop is suddenly a problem now that it's in white suburbia,
Hold
or
on.
at least in suburbia.
Surely hip hop was never a problem in Harlem, only in Boston after it bothered the fathers of daughters starting to blossom. So now I'm catching the flack from these activists when they rag in, acting like I'm the first rapper to smack a bitch or say faggot. Shit.
And
it's like...
True.
And I kind of remember this playing out a bit. Like, this one,
he really was, like, in the news, and, like, there was a lot of controversy about him.
All the religious groups that are protesting shit were coming at him, and it's like... And it really was because he's white. So it's almost showing this double-edged sword of his skin color. And
well, I agree, but I also feel like I like how he touched upon it because, as we know, hip-hop's been around forever. Well, since 70s, 80s, you know, forever. And it's funny how Eminem brought it to where it is with the lyrics and the anger and the violence, and
Yeah.
I
That's
like
kind of
how
what he
he's
says in the
not.
first verse there, eh?
No, of course, but I don't think he's trying to call out his language. I think he's calling out that it's a problem because now all the white kids in suburbia are acting like him.
Basically,
But it's not about what
let's-
he's saying.
Let's
like,
break it down. A guy like me only knows what rap music is at that time because Eminem is there. So then I went and found all the rest of rap music. He was like a gateway drug to rap music for so many of us white kids,
But
teenagers
he,
at that time.
like the way he came out and whatever it was that he was doing, it just like it really hit home to everybody, and like it made it onto like all the radio stations, and then if it didn't, like it was so controversial, I'm sure that there were some that weren't playing it.
And then it must
he
have.
And
basically-
like so it just made people want it more, and like
Hold on.
like they loved it.
But then you have to just consider a whole other level on this song that we haven't even discussed yet. I know we focus a lot on the lyrics, and first of all, his flow fits this beat perfectly to a point where it's almost like it's incredible, and the beat's alive, right? Like he's got shit like
Yeah, that
going like
at the
through it.
end, and
He's
and
got the outro where he's like freaking promising to cause destruction and mayhem and do it, but just play in America. You know I love you.
I like the,
Yeah.
the
Just
beat
which
when
is kind of like he did with Kill You at the end, right? Just playing ladies. You know I love you.
Yeah.
I like how the beat increases greatly in volume when he says "white America" or at least America. And if you listen, I guess for me, I heard this every time he says Eric or Erica, representing shortening down the word America for that as a name.
Yeah.
The beat slightly still goes a little bit higher as well, putting more emphasis on his words, and that was really cool. Good on Dre for that. Like.
Was Dre the producer of this one? Because Dre wasn't the guy on
I'm
all
assuming.
of them.
I think he was on this
I'm
one.
assuming. I'm being
No,
a dick.
No, because Jeff Bass did a bunch. Eminem
It
did a
wasn't this
couple.
one. No, I know it
Well,
wasn't this
Eminem
one.
didn't make this one.
No, I know.
He didn't make
I don't
this
know
one.
who made White America. I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't
Fair enough. I'm just.
look at
I'm
the
just.
producers like I should.
I'm just
but
assuming. I'm being
The
an ass.
production, man, this beat is just
Heavy.
because it feels like you can get this sense of real instrumentation. Like it's got influences from stuff like rock music. It doesn't sound like anything else really. Like it doesn't have like this. I mean, I'm going back in like
the
time
music
to
video,
like
there's
that.
like a lot of like subtle things that happened in it as well, and like you see like the police and they're beating someone up, and it just says like parental whatever.
Advisory sticker.
Yeah, the sticker.
Oh, he's not
And like
happy about
there's
that
like
sticker.
a black hand that like comes out of like the box, and like that's who like the police are beating up. So it's like.
And it's
It's
all
going on
the-
what's going on in America right now, and then plus the bombs and like planes flying over, and then planes were obviously
It's not
like,
dated. I don't feel like this.
well,
song
it
dated.
is. It
Well,
is dated
It's
because
dated
it's
for-
very like 9/11 era.
Yeah,
that
but I
came,
mean,
because
I
that's
guess
what the
the
planes are
concept
saying.
and the message isn't so.
So I would say that it's dated but still relevant is a
There we
better
go.
way
Yeah.
to put it.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Because it was eerie how it's kind of like when you do watch the Rodney King things every now and again. You're like the video quality is dated, but the story keeps happening. And I think that's a way to look at it. Like you look
Yeah.
at Eminem's video and the specifics are different, but I never realized how political it was. And almost every shot takes its opportunity to make some kind of a statement, and it is truly a rare music video in that regard. I really enjoyed just this overall song. For me, this is, I mean, it's the first of many fives that are going to be handed out on this album. Well deserved, in my opinion. Like, it makes you think, like, almost every line, and in a way that I guess I like, I don't know.
Well, he was challenging like free speech, and like he wasn't going to stop. Like he was going to keep doing what he was doing, and like I think that was the issue. Like nobody had gone so far with their words that so blatantly. Like
Sorry.
he doesn't really like.
Nobody of his skin color had gone so far with the words, because this was kind of happening
Yeah.
with like Straight Outta Compton went through a very similar process.
Of course,
Tupac got hit by the chords, so many rappers in the 90s, and then it
Yeah.
got to Eminem, who
And it's like,
is
oh
the
my,
white
like
one.
one of us. And it's just like
That's
awful,
it.
you know?
It's like the problem is I speak to suburban kids who otherwise wouldn't even know these words exist, whose moms probably wouldn't give two squirts of piss until I created so much motherfucking turbulence.
Yeah.
I mean, man, too good. I don't know. I could go on. I could probably talk about this song for another 20 minutes. So, yeah, we're going to probably do the first half of the album really long and slow, and then the second half start rushing when time runs out.
Well, I gave it a 5 on 5.
I gave it a 5 as well.
All right, let's get down to business. I don't got a time to play around.
What is this?
Play around, what is this? Must be a circus in town. They shut the shit down on these
I can tell you one thing though. When I was a wee younger Holden, I was not such a fan of this song because I didn't really understand what the fuck the song was about. Like, it was like, oh, Eminem's flossing. Okay, cool. But I didn't really understand it. This was one of those songs that I feel like I've criticized this type of song on so many fucking reviews before, but it's because they've never done it quite like this before.
Yeah.
So this track is basically saying, I'm here to save hip-hop because the state of hip-hop is whack. And here's some differences.
Yeah.
Eminem is not coming in here and saying, like, I'm jealous that I'm not famous enough or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opposite. He's like, whoa, I took a couple years off and you let all this bad shit in? And then him and Dre take on the role of Batman and Robin. Dre being Batman and Eminem being Robin, as we know from another video.
Of course.
Which
And-
I don't know why they do that.
Because Dre is badass and G, and Eminem is the goofy guy.
No. That's my bad, guys. My question is, that is clear. My question is,
Okay.
why do people make music videos for one? Like, why do people use one song's, like, I guess, characters or stuff and put it in another music video?
I'm certain that what happened is they had finished the album before they made the video, and this song already existed, and then they were just trying to pay homage to the idea because they thought it would be funny. That would be my running the idea. Business did get released as the last single on the album, but I didn't find a music video for it. I don't remember a music video for it. I don't know if there is one.
There is none.
But okay, so like it starts off like the old Batman and Robin show from like the 60s, and it's just playing in like they're gonna come
It
in.
sounds like a circus show at the very beginning, like, step right up, folks, da-da, you know, like, he's just like...
His name is Marshall!
Yeah, so it just sounds like there's going to be, like, again,
No, this
like,
isn't
it's more about the show.
Yeah, this is more about the show. This is the show one. This isn't the...
Yeah, no, his name is Marshall!
Yes.
It's like fucking all the time in this one.
Yes.
I don't know, man, but I just, fuck. You about to witness hip-hop in its most purest, most rawest flow, almost flawless. Like, he fucks up the flow on purpose because he's like, I love this line in particular because Eminem has never really called himself the greatest. He's always said, like, kind of
Well,
one
he
up.
is humble in some sort,
Until
like, in some sense.
No, but
Rap
even if you
God.
take Rap
Go.
God, look, even if you take Rap God as the example here, and that would be like the obvious one. It's
Well, even I'm a goat. I
I'm
would say I'm a goat.
beginning to feel like a Rap God.
I understand.
So it's not like if Eminem 8 albums in is only beginning to feel like he trust.
But it's
like,
funny because he acknowledges the same thing on Goat, which at first I thought
who
was
fucks up the line on purpose just to prove they're not perfect? Only Eminem.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's
True.
too good.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
Well, he is showing off in this one a lot.
Yeah. Like, quick, gotta move fast, gotta perform miracles. Gee willikers, Dre, holy bad syllables. Look at all the bullshit that goes on. I can't even do it.
Look
in
at all
Gotham,
the bullshit that goes on in Gotham.
when I'm gone, try to get rid of these rap
I'm
criminals.
not even trying.
The show.
Skip what I do, what I do best.
And then, did you guys know they took a shot at ICP?
Well, yes, it's quite clear.
The show must go on, so I'd like to welcome y'all to Marshall and Andre's Carnival. Come on. That's a shot at ICP.
Isn't there like multiple
'Cause it's
shots
the-
in there too?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
There's
There's
another
something else
shot
about
at like
clowns.
there's
Yeah.
another.
But
there's
yeah,
another shot.
they're,
Whatever issues that, ICP and Eminem were having.
that's a good story.
Oh, I also
should cover
liked-
beefs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Holy bat syllables. Yeah, bat. I wrote it down.
Yeah, I do too. It's bad. I kept saying
touching-
it wrong off camera.
I like the touching upon the Elton John performance of Stan to explain some shit he had to go through.
But on his wall of drag.
Yeah, dude.
no, it's
that
not
is-
in this one. It's not in
Oh.
that
No.
one that he says that.
Sorry,
wow.
I bring it back.
It's
No,
true.
this is not on that, not that
Yeah,
line.
you're
But there's
right.
another reference to the Elton John. When me and Elton played Russian roulette.
Yes, Korean
Boom.
Russian roulette.
Exactly, and it was
Or
cool.
hold up. Or you ain't even impressed no more. You're used to it. Addressing to the fact that he's so fucking
Yep.
good, he can't even impress you anymore because he's
And this is where he rhymes oranges with a whole bunch
oranges,
of
potatoes,
syringes,
peach, pears, plums,
hinges,
oranges,
inches.
brim, brim,
He
brim.
just
Yeah.
does everything.
Here
So he's
come
really
bitches
just
away
showing
from
off.
you, dear
Okay,
that, you
friend.
know,
okay, guys,
you can
we
rhyme
know we're
orange.
not as good as Eminem in the comments. Be nice.
It's our accent, I guess.
Hip hop is in a state of 911.
So let's get. Oh fuck, this song is good. Here's the thing: the beat kind of gets on my nerves a bit. It's It's never been one of my favorite songs because I feel like with most music, it's going to come down to the beat on a guy who's so flawless like Eminem. When I say flawless, I mean there's not a part of this song I can look at and be like, that was bad. But I can say that the beat is not my favorite, and the excessive use of Marshall, which is fun and fits the song, is not my favorite.
Very
I do like it when it appears in the verses, but in the intro and outro, like, look, preferences here. I give it a 4.5 on 5. Okay, it's fucking near perfect.
All right, I give this one a 5. I mean, I like it a lot. I thought it was catchy. I thought it was fun. I thought that there was, he was showing off, and he's really just showing off, and like just. I mean, he can do anything. So I think that he's just, being amazing. And that's it.
I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I agree
feel
with
less bad now.
I agree. No, but I'm starting to think I'm starting to get accurate with these scores with you. Like, I'm starting to understand
Maybe
more.
Our periods are syncing up.
Oh, look at that.
Oh boy.
But no, this song is a 4.5 on 5 because yes, the beat is greatly produced and amazing, but it's not a beat that I would really go back to a lot. And as well, I have the same thing about the whole, it's Marshall. It's like, okay, yeah. It's nice to hear a couple of times, but it is very repetitive, and it's like, okay.
He hears it all the time.
Yeah.
Marshall. All right. So are we all ready to talk about cleaning out our closets?
Yes.
Nope.
I never meant to make you cry, but tonight.
So cleaning out my closet was fucking huge when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, I remember everybody in my high school was obsessed with this fucking song. I like it a little bit less than everyone else did because I heard Superman. We'll get to that one at some point, but I was enthralled on that when this one became a single. But what can I say? I mean, just from the beginning where he keeps this take, like, where's my snare? I got no... Like, that was a legit thing he said, because he annotated it on Genius himself, and he's like, yeah, this just kind of happened, and I thought it sounded cool, so I left it in. So the sound engineer had it muted.
I like that.
It was authentic. And then just from the beginning, like, have you ever been hated or discriminated against? I have. I don't know. And then he, like, goes on, and it's just the way he rhymes.
Even just, like, the very beginning of, like, this song, just, like, the tone of it, like right away, it's going to be something like a bit more serious, a bit more dark or whatever.
The title, Cleaning Out My Closet.
I like the creepy, eerie cabin sounding, like the crickets, and like you're kind of like in this like backwoods forest type thing.
Yeah.
I definitely got a lot of imagery, even like before the music video. But I got a lot of imagery of him just like kind of walking around his house and just like acknowledging what's going on and stuff like that.
And then he has like, it's just incredible rhyming. Like, keep kicking ass in the morning and taking names in the evening, leave them with the taste of sour and vinegar in their mouth. See, they can trigger me, but they'll never figure me out. And just look at me now. I bet you're probably sick of me now. Ain't your mama? I'm gonna make you look so ridiculous now. And you're just feeling like this passion on it, like this like. Yeah. Like, you can see, like, I mean, as I understand it, at this point in his legal history, his mother has tried to sue him for $10 million. They settle out of court, and it's over. And now Eminem is allowed to say whatever the fuck he wants to say.
They settled out of court for
like
26, no, what
1600.
Is it, 20, no, 24th something, and her attorney took 23,000, and she was left with a grand 655.
Yeah,
that sucks. Sucks to be her, but I mean, like her reputation was ruined, but maybe it was already. So
anyway, sorry, Debbie.
Basically, I'm just like, I don't feel bad for Debbie. I don't know how to feel
I don't
bad
either.
for her.
I mean,
but it's just.
Be nice to your son.
So this was, as I understand it, he's like, I'ma just let it all out now that I can. Now that I can legally, fuck it, we're putting it all down. You tried to sue me, boom. And you can feel it, and he's just got so many...
He feels bad for doing it, but not really, because, like...
Oh, no, he feels bad for doing it, and we'll get there on the Marshall Mathers LP, too, but you should check out the song Headlights, and he basically really addresses how bad he feels about this all that time later.
Interesting.
So
maybe there's a lot of, like, press and, like... I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people questioning that song.
Well,
check it.
For me, it's even intense. Like, I feel like there's this lyric that probably most people don't pay attention to. So take a listen. Take a second to listen for you think this record is dissing. Put yourself in my position just to try to envision witnessing your mama popping prescription pills in the kitchen, bitching that there's someone going through her purse and shit's missing. You know,
Going
and
through
then
public housing syndromes.
yeah, and it's like you just take the consideration that like Eminem's trying to be therapeutic with it and doesn't want you to take this track like now I would never diss my mama just to get like just that even that part
Yeah.
like Eminem doesn't want you to be like, yo, I'm trying to make money off of this track. That's not what this is about for me. This is clearly a sense of therapy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's clearly a very personal experience that gives you a sense into where his anguish with his mother comes from. But
And also like his anger for Kim, like because I mean he talks about like her as well, and like maybe like there's like obviously he's got issues with women.
and he's got issues with his dad too. Like he questions
I honestly think it's more about the mother. He does
It is.
touch on
It is definitely
his
more
father.
about the mother. Yeah.
Well, he
because he brings up the fact like because he gives a serious chunk of that verse to his dad. Like as much as he says he doesn't care. Like I look at Haillie and I never picture
Like, he can
leaving
never
aside.
leave her,
Even
just
if
like
I
he
hated Kim, I grit my
Ronnie.
teeth in my
And I
try.
found out Ronnie's the uncle. I never knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I thought
Like,
I thought Ronnie was Eminem's brother.
He says
for
it in
some,
Stan.
He's what?
My uncle Ronnie.
Whoa.
He says it in Stan.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's true.
Either way, diss track to me is not one of my favorite songs on this album. It's look, objectively speaking, it's fucking amazingly perfect. There's nothing wrong with this song. But when I like really all this time later, like I don't know, I don't really want to listen to Eminem kind of going on about his mom all this time later and with all the other albums, with all the other music. So maybe within the realm of this album, it's a beautiful, perfect masterpiece. So I gave it a 5. Because I know how cool it was back in the day. I can't deny the fact that this song has a certain appeal and magic. I am not a fan of the video. It's pretty
I feel
lame.
like it played on like Much Music a lot. Like I remember
But
it.
I have to give the video credit. Every detail of that video is thought out. Like there's that one scene where it kind of pans with Eminem and he starts in the left side of the shot and he ends
his
at the
house
right and then
pans.
he like cuts over and he disappears in his mom.
His house changes to like his house from 1973 or whatever.
You got to give him credit. There was so much effort put into this project. So I gave it a 5, but it's really not one I like that much on a personal level.
Yeah, like I'm the same sort of thing. Like I thought, I mean, it was epic at the time. Like I remember it coming out, like, and it still is a good song because I mean, it still gives you lots of feels, and like I mean, like you feel his anger. You feel like, oh shit, like this is what he's been through. Like you get it a little bit more. It's just a little bit more like into his life, into like his mind, and all this shit that he's been through, and plus he's getting all the crap from everyone else. So it just there's a lot of anger, obviously, and I guess it's well-deserved anger, but obviously he's got some, issues. So, yeah, it's a 5 on 5.
I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
They're going to get mad at you on YouTube, Chris.
I know. And it's my fault.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not your fault they're going to get mad at
No,
you.
no,
on
not
YouTube.
that. But I'm saying like, okay, again, objectively, it is a 5. But for my scoring, I may have killed the track for me. I get annoyed of the snare, to be honest. When he finally gets the snare in, I kind of get annoyed of it.
That's all he wanted on this song, dude.
I know, and it was cool when I first listened to it, and it was awesome. But then it's like, I keep listening for it, and it's my fault. But
So what we
Oh,
learned here.
it gets into your head.
it's just I've overplayed the track. So listening to it now, I'm like, yes, I can objectively say it's a 5, but I can't grade it as a 5 for me because I wouldn't go back to this track in preference. My replayability on this track isn't very high, and I'm not going to give it a perfect grade if I don't feel like I'm going to go back. Like, I know I've given perfect grades to some really stupid tracks, but I go back to those stupid tracks, and call me what you will, but I'm like, I feel like that kind of validates a little bit of a 5. Like, just...
Sure, it's subjective. It's his opinion. You can call us stans, but you could also call us haters. I don't know. I've learned that no matter what we say, somebody out there is not going to like it.
Yeah, go watch the Ritz review.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, you can click in the corner if you want to watch us make a Ritz review that pissed off a lot of strange music fans. But let's square dance in the meantime.
Yep.
Burn nothing to worry about. Let your hair down. Come on, man.
It was the ladies and chit-chat.
Yeah, it's
From
fun.
that fucking moment on, I was enthralled with
The
this song.
chorus, you mean?
No, the intro.
Like when he does like that
Like,
weird
like,
rap or
it's a-
voice or whatever.
Yes,
that
was
shit,
cool.
like
I
just.
It's very fun and
I didn't like
catchy
the
right
chorus.
away.
The broken
Oh,
chorus.
I love this chorus,
I
man.
wasn't really on that.
Come on now, let's
It's,
all
it's
get
not. It's
on
not
now,
bad. It's
let's
not
all
bad. I
sit
was
on
just like,
now. It was
okay,
really
I
great.
get it. It's funny. It's cute. I was like,
See, this
okay.
is baffling to me. This song's a banger.
Well, he's back like to entertain you, and I wonder if people have used this song to do-si-do.
But basically, there's two main points to this song. The first one is cannabis. Eminem is not so fond of him, and he lets
But
us
he
know.
also says at the end of the song, Canada Bis.
He was making fun of cannabis.
And he's also, I think, making fun of Canada.
No, I think it was just making fun of.
I think it was because like we were like giving him shit about his album as well.
Maybe. But then it's also about Bush and the
Wait,
war.
did he get banned around this album
I don't
Maybe.
think so.
from Canada?
Maybe.
I doubt it.
But I think that there was
I
like
don't think so that
I don't
happened.
know.
That guy probably toured Canada. But then there was also the political side of this track, which is like the war in Afghanistan and Bush and
Well, he's very
Yeah,
much against the
speaking-
administration and everything.
Like-
Speaking
Again.
of the war, I like the line where he acknowledges to, and I think he's trying to make these the younger kids acknowledge that like you think your problems are bad. I'm 28. I'm most likely to be drafted.
no, it's I'm 28. They gonna take you before they take me. Come on, bro.
Really? I thought he was trying to do it the other way around, where he's like, I'm the first one to go.
No, he's saying like because in the context of it, and that's also a double. Anyway, so basically in the context of that, he's describing in that third verse some shit like how they're gonna use terror to create artificial war to create a draft, and then he's saying like, check it, as much as you're fucking laughing like this is all funny, like you laugh till your motherfucking ass gets drafted and all that shit. And because Cannabis apparently also has a song called Draft Me, so there's a couple one line that takes like a shot at his tracks. There's a couple of those subtle things where I don't really know them because I'm not big on the beef side of that, but so the idea is like, and I was thinking about it the other day actually. I was thinking about that exact lyric on the Metro, and I was like, well, like I'm 30. If there was some war, I'm like they're gonna take Chris before they take me. And I had that exact thought because he's younger, and so that's how it works. They grafted the little ones first, and there's more little ones. Anyway,
But he's still trying to make you guys acknowledge, man. Like, come
But
on.
no.
And like the way that even like the voice that he uses is like, you know, it sounds like George Bush because he's doing a kind of like a Texan accent, and like he's playing on that like and do 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 do, and like he sounds kind of like, you know, Bush because he was, you know, he sounded kind of like do do do, and like he
That's
did,
true.
and like he's also kind of playing on the fact that he himself is like maybe like a redneck or like, you know, white trash, and like kind of like, you know, and it doesn't have like a great education and stuff like that. So I
But-
think that he's kind of playing on that as well.
I love the part where we see that so early on in the album he drops bars like, with a plan to ambush this Bush administration, mush the Senate's facing, and push this generation of kids to stand and fight for the right to say something you might not like. This white hot light that I'm under, no wonder I look so sunburned. Oh no, I won't leave no stone unturned, and I won't leave no whatever. He says he's not going anywhere. But like to me, it's like you see him being like, look, I recognize that none of this shit is okay, and don't think that just because I'm this entertainer type, I'm not gonna drive these kids to fight back, to like come at it. And like honestly, I don't know, maybe a younger me was inspired by Eminem, and now I'm more politically inclined because he did have these powerful messages. Like he almost made it cool to shit on Bush, you know, from the rap sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying other rappers weren't doing it. I'm saying I never heard other rappers doing it back then.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hold up. Then there's that one lyric we really got to talk about. I don't know
He's
if you
like
know it.
when he plays the Arabic sounds, and then they say he's
Psychotic,
just as
hypnotic,
upsetting.
psychotic, hypnotic product. I got the antibiotic, and ain't nobody hotter, and so on and yada yada. Gotta talk a lot of him de la da da da, uchi wala wala, de da 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 da, but yada. Ah, it's so good. I tripped balls when I was a kid about that. It was so fun. I knew this guy who had that as his MSN Messenger screen name, the whole fucking paragraph.
Retro.
Anyway, the beat's fantastic. He rides the beat like a boss. The outro gives props and homages to all sorts of people
Yep.
around the industry.
And doesn't he say like, when I say Hussein, you say Shady or something? And it's just like,
And that's
he's just as like appalling as, you know, Saddam Hussein. You know, he's like the new terror. As much as there's, you know, like the terrorism and it's post 9/11, he's talking about anthrax and everything else. You know, he's talking about all of that, and he's just similar. And then, you know, there's a war on
it's
terror, and there's a war on at home and it's Eminem and it's Marilyn Manson and he's the one making all these kids shoot up schools, and he's not. He's the one saying, I'm not that. Like, I'm just a white guy expressing all the shit that all the anger that is held in all these white kids and not being able to have free speech about it.
Respect.
Donnie did.
For me though, I gotta give this a 4.5. It is like flawless except for one big flaw. This is so dated. It is so hard to listen to this track. Like, it's almost like Bush is now 2 presidents ago.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Trump verse is cool, but that Trump verse
Two-
he just did
two
was no square.
presidents ago.
Like the Trump thing that he just did was no square dance, and I'm still waiting for that square dance on this new album Revival that should hopefully maybe be coming, unless it really is just a myth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, 4.5.
As much as I love it and as much as my rant went on, I gave it a 4.5 on 5. Because it's not like the best song, but it is fun and catchy, and it does make you want to listen to it, but it's not like your favorite.
Perfect.
Nice. I gave this a 4 and 5. I don't like the chorus.
Come on now, let's all get on
I
now.
don't.
Well, don't see don't now. We're gonna have a good
Cute,
time.
nice, funny, meh. Not like. No. Sorry.
All right,
4 on
Okay.
5.
let's talk about the kiss.
Yes.
Do it.
I don't think so. Dog. She just fucking kissed it. No, she didn't. She's kissing.
When I was recording my EP, I told my sound engineer I want my skits to overlap on my songs like this, because this is the greatest fucking skit ever, just to like flow into a track. It is this skit. I quoted it in a comment the other day. Like, this is the skit that proves that I, as an artist, should not have to necessarily go out there and look up and Google the specific incidents that were going on in the artist's life. The artist could instead do something mad creative, like create a 3-track little story on his album to describe one of the serious issues he was describing. So you might be wondering, what's this gun dispute? You might be wondering that shit. But nope, Eminem goes ahead and tells you. He's like, I'm in the club.
Loaded or not, he's bringing his gun.
and he has his gun, he has no bullets in it, and he sets up the story, and the beat kicks in just the most perfect, pristine time. I think it's like 33 seconds in.
And
then,
I just want to say, the fact that he has no bullets in it, and I caught it, he mentions that, and it's a reference to Cleaning Out My Closet when he goes, the smartest thing I ever did was take the bullets out of that gun.
Yep.
well, I mean, it's kind of like, at this point, I do think that the court case was pretty public and shit like that,
Well,
too.
no, I know, but I'm
You're-
saying,
you're
like,
right.
in terms of listening to it, I was like, that's cool how he references it. And then when he and again, we're gonna talk about this on another track as well, but the fact that he's pulling up in someone else's car, I was like, okay, this is another reference to another track. So
But yeah, so he's like pulling up, and then he sees,
And, yeah,
basically,
you just
Kim
hear them.
kisses the bouncer, and he goes out, like, he's got his gun, and you just hear him, like, running
Yeah,
up.
but even like the Gary guy is kind of like, okay, like, it's not funny, and he's like, oh, the gun's not loaded, and like he shoots it, and he's like, it's not funny when you do that, like
Drop your shit. Like, you can see that, like, he's
And then
been
he-
doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
People aren't happy with him.
Gary's clearly like, okay, not this again, but like, to the point where he's actually gonna like do it.
And then,
So, and then he does kind of.
like, gets out the car and runs up. And then you just, the whole time, the way the beat builds up. Because at first, there's no beat or anything. It's just the background noises of the car. And then, I'm just saying, for me, maybe it's just my nostalgic attachment to this skit. Maybe it's the number of times I've heard it. Maybe it's because of how much I love the next song. But this is a 5. This might be my favorite skit I've ever heard on any album ever. For its purpose on the album, for everything about it. Like, it is just the way it flows into the next track. It is... I don't even want the intro without the skit. It's hard to listen to the next song without this whole thing.
Yeah.
And how often do you get that experience where to get to a song, you're almost willing to listen to a minute and a half of a skit? I mean, for me, 5 on 5, it's beautiful, it's amazing.
I'm sitting here like I'm pretty sure I've stated that I need to listen to this skit, and you're like, no, you can just listen to the song. Anyway, the song.
Well, we're like describing, like, in there's always a time and a place.
Of course.
We're talking about personal enjoyment time.
Of course. I gave this skit a 4 on 5. I was like, okay, this is cool. I like the references. I like the connecting the album in a way, giving a descriptive story to it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know, for me, it was just still a skit. I was like, okay, I can actually start the next song with or without the skit.
I mean, I was being a little melodramatic. I can clearly start it without the skit.
Oh, now you say that. Well, anyways, I also gave it a 4 out of 5. I mean, it is a good skit. It does flow into the next song great. Like, you know what's going on. Like, you know, he's got a gun, and that's maybe what's part of the reason for the song Soldier.
So yeah, let's talk about Soldier.
Yeah.
Even if my collarbones cause you crumble, I will never stumble. I love pissing.
This is my number one Eminem song of all of the Eminem songs. I don't
Then
care if it's your favorite.
Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah.
Well, why does this beat sound like another track?
Like which other track?
Till I Collapse.
Because they're the same kind of soldiery vibe.
But, like,
They're not that similar.
they're very similar.
But they're not that exact.
I'm not saying they're exact. I'm just
But
saying,
they're
like,
giving off the same kind of energy. They're both giving off that. Like this one is more Eminem's a soldier. The
Right,
other
I
one
feel
is,
like this
The other
one's
one's
more
like
raw.
he's
Well, first
gonna,
of all, the
you know,
other one-
perform until he's
the
dead.
other one. We'll talk about it then, but it's got a different beat construction. It's slower, it's laid back, but it is the general same vein of things. Yes, but this is more of a higher energy, faster song.
Yes.
So first of all, this is I think the fastest one we've come across so far for me at least. And it just fuck man. Never was a thug, just infatuated with guns. Never was a gangster till I graduated to one. I got the rep of a villain for weapon concealing it. Took the image of a thug, kept shit appealing, willing to stick out my neck for respect. He just fucking every line, every word is unique, right? He just like these days rappers will repeat themselves a lot, and Eminem does a little bit on this album, like for
Well, he
days
does like
and
during like the
days or
hook and the
whatever.
chorus and whatever.
But like the
less-
way that every fill is done, and unlike a guy like Tech Nine who will sometimes just put words in that just make the sounds good, it drives the narrative along. And every little hook and fill on this song, it's interesting. Like when I was young, I got all the lyrics wrong, and it's like when I finally got to hear and like see, like well before now, but like what he's actually saying in every single line, it's just beyond impressive how he wrote the flow to this shit, to me at least. And we got this track where in verse 1 it's to deal with the fact that people are kind of almost checking his rap in person and almost getting up in his face like, you a rapper? You really like this? So he needs to carry these guns and shit for like protection and seg. Then in the second verse, everyone's just kind of following around with cameras and lawsuits and everybody's trying to like sue him and shit. And then it's like I'm a lit fuse. Anything I do, bitch, it's news. Pistol whipping motherfucking bounce a 6'2", which is kind of addressing
Tying
what's
into the
going on
last
to like what's happening with the
skit.
skit and shit. And that's why like he's getting sued for that, so it's also relevant to there. And then in verse 3 it just goes fucking in like, so tick-tock, listen to the sound, 6 on the clock, you know? Just like fucking goes in proper. But my favorite part was always, I'm like a thug with a little bit of pop influence to spew it, and look how I got you bitches rocking to it. You motherfuckers can never do it like I could do it. Don't even try it. You look stupid. Do not pursue it. Which I guess is ironic. Like, there's a serious irony to spitting that part on a camera in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I do look stupid, but I couldn't help it because it might be one of my favorite rap lyrics of all time. That little bars right there, man.
Nice.
Like,
I
only
did.
he could do this.
I did like. Oh, I like the first bars. Is that the one you're really the very first things he said?
Never was a thug.
Yeah? Is that
Pat's
the one
fucking-
you're-
No. The part that I love is, I'm like a thug with a little bit of pop
Okay.
influence to spew it, and look how I got you bitches rocking to that whole little section. Oh.
Right. How he
And
like
then the
took
chorus,
Pac's
dude.
crowd.
Just even the chorus, like
The chorus is solid.
You just feel like
I like the
you
beginning.
can get up, man. And if Eminem can do it, you can do it. You can get up and you can be that soldier. And you know
Fair
he's got
enough.
shit on his shoulder. Yo left, yo left,
Yo left,
right.
right,
And that's how it
left.
ends. And I was in cadets at the time, right? So
Yeah.
I actually
Which
could
that
march.
gets looped into another track as
No,
well.
I mean, but literally in my life, I was in the Royal Canadian Air Cadets at the time, and I
Oh,
was
that's nice.
marching and shit. So I literally knew how to march and shit, and I felt like I was all dressed up like a soldier sometimes.
Nice.
6 on 5. I know. I don't care. I put a 5 for my like album review grade, but in my heart, it's like a 7 on 5.
Like a big 6 right there, right now.
7, 8. No, it's an 8. It's so amazing. If Bonnie gave it 10 one time, I can give more than 5. This is my
That's true.
favorite of all time.
Nice.
You guys haven't said anything yet, so I hope you guys can now like fill in.
I like the beginning where he acknowledges that he wasn't a thug and that it kind of stumbled upon him the life that he wanted because he just liked guns. I think a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of people kind of start stumbling into certain paths and ways because they just like or like happen to like certain things.
But he's also kind of saying too is that he's like stupid and foolish and like has guns and doesn't he doesn't need them, and
But,
so
like,
he's kind of like a personal soldier of
But
some
like
sort.
he kind of needs them, as what Holden was saying, and like people are kind of stepping
But
to
say
him
he
and questioning.
feels the need for
Like-
them, even if it's not a real
Like
need.
his
Yeah,
own security.
it's like people are questioning if he's a real rapper. So if he's like, well, if I need a gun to prove that I'm a rapper to you guys, well, here.
But
kinda-
it's not loaded.
No, but like I don't know if it's now, but like one of the ideas is that like he has the gun, but he uses it at the wrong times.
Mm-hmm.
Which we do find out.
Either way, I don't know. What else do you guys want to say? I just talked for like 4 minutes straight. on
Dude, you
this
said
song.
the entire song. It's pretty solid. I honestly don't have much to this. His flow is great. The beat, I wasn't really too into the beat. It's not produced bad. It's produced great. It's just not my type of. I don't know. I just didn't rub me the right way, I guess. But I like the raw soldier vibe. I like the in terms of vocal and the way that Eminem's presenting himself. I like how he is going crazy a little bit. So I think this is a little bit of like Slim
start of
Shady
it,
character.
yeah.
Like the Slim Shady character is here. And
Well,
he's
he
like,
also
I'm a
says that he
soldier,
won't
I'm
be
a
marshaled
psychopath.
again.
So I feel
so
like
he's-
if we look at this within the context of the little trilogy, right? So you have the kiss, which is the tone setter. It's what actually happened.
Yeah.
You have Soldier, which is almost his aggressive reaction up until that point, how he's been living life, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys on the internet, correct me if I'm wrong, but up until this gun charge, he was literally ripped on ecstasy day in, day out, living high, doing crazy shenanigans and shit. Then part of the gun charge was that he had to go sober for a minute with drug testing. And so the Eminem Show was the first album he did that wasn't like fucking ripped on Molly or ecstasies or whatever. And he was a little more clear.
I don't know, because there's a verse somewhere on this album, and there's a line where he questions when he's gonna be making music when he's off drugs.
Yeah, but like what drugs? Which drugs? Like he
Okay.
when he went to rehab later on, it wasn't for fucking
Methadone,
ecstasy. It
you know?
was for like prescription drugs and shit. So it's a difference between like I guess what I'm saying is he's less on that party shit and he's migrated onto different stuff. I guess I don't know. This is just how I remember it. I didn't actually Google this. This was stuff like I feel like I learned when I was younger and we used to talk about it back when the album came out. Anyway.
I give this one a 4 on 5. It's good, but it's not my favorite.
Gave it a 4 on 5 as well.
You know, you said that. Do you have any more notes to add here?
No, I mean everything's been covered, so
So we can say goodbye to Hollywood.
yes, we can.
Say goodbye, Hollywood.
Freedom over no female, I need to slow down. Try to get my feet on solid ground, so for now.
So here we have the third part of the 3-track trilogy, or I guess 2 tracks in a Skit.
Yep.
This is like Marshall Mathers, the person behind the character, kind of evaluating
Well,
the
this
decision
is
or
consequences
when
to it all.
you know the first 2 things explain what happened, and this is him getting arrested. Like you hear him like put into like the back of the cop car, and so it's kind of like
Yeah.
what goes on from there.
And then it's like he just kind of goes through and like this is where I mean when like sometimes you shouldn't have to research an artist if an artist is doing their job right to effectively tell your story. If you didn't know what happened, right? Eminem's like, I'm standing there swinging on like 30 people by myself. I couldn't even see the millimeter when it fell. Turned around, saw Gary stashing the heater in his belt. Saw the bouncers rush him and beat him to the ground. And then you're just like, oh. So Eminem went up and was fighting, not pistol whipping. The gun falls out. And he's like telling you his side of the story and the incident and etc. to like have a, like... And it's just, it's so included in the album and put together.
He's pretty honest, you know.
Yeah.
He's clearing his name by telling the truth.
Well,
then
he's
he's got,
doing it
like-
because he wants people to know what really happened, and if you're gonna follow him, not
But
what
it's
people
also
think
like
of him.
acknowledging that even if those details weren't exact and that one detail changed, he recognizing shit like I just sold 2 million records, I don't need to go to jail, you know.
Like Kim's not worth it.
And then I think the line that always like fucking really struck with me was, it's fucking crazy because all I wanted was to give Haillie the life I never had. Instead I forced us to live alienated, so I'm saying goodbye to Hollywood.
He just wants to get away from the spotlight and like away from that,
But
and like
it's-
wants to do the best that he can for Haillie.
But it's crazy how his idea of giving the best to Haillie was to make music and get this, do this.
Because
In
he
a
feels so
sense,
much
like,
demand from like all of his from his fans, and like
Yeah.
he doesn't want to disappoint them.
I would say
and,
friends too.
Yeah, and like he doesn't want to like, you know, give Haillie like the life that she couldn't have, because like what if he had done something terrible and like gone to jail, and then Kim was an irresponsible mother, and so it's like where would she be? So it's just he's thinking about all that.
And then I love the title "Say Goodbye Hollywood" or "Saying Goodbye to Hollywood," depending on what part of the CD cover you look at. He basically is also acknowledging that part of this is this celebrity life he's been living, right? And he wanted to be in the spotlight, and he wanted all this shit, and maybe it's like time for him to like kind of like, even just the idea of the Eminem Show, it's like it's this awareness that his whole life is on camera like this. And with your track "Say Goodbye to Hollywood," up at this point of the album, it's almost like you've had this collective of everything in his life that's up until this gun moment when he gets arrested and his whole life shatters before him, and he realizes it's time to put this behind him and like
And it's
almost
interesting
move on to like real maturity in his world.
because he records he recorded the whole album. I think it was all done in Detroit. So it was all like he did it from his own studio. I think there was another like 2 other studios that he recorded on. And so it's interesting that he really was out of the spotlight. He wasn't in like he wasn't in Hollywood. That's why he was leaving.
He like, because I believe he went back home, and it's amazing. Like I love the idea of a guy like Eminem leaving Hollywood because it's just not for him, and going back to where he's comfortable and making music there. Like to me, that's pretty cool. I give this a 4.5 on 5 for the reason that, again, the beat is kind of redundant. Doom, doom, doom,
I didn't
or
really
whatever.
like
Doom,
this.
doom, 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 and whatever.
I like the honesty about when he wanted to give Haillie a good home, and how he's doing it is not really working, and the result of it when you try to do something good, sometimes negative things always happen. But I mean, I didn't feel this track. This felt a little bit of wishy-washy, to tell you the truth. I was like, I get it. This is part 3. You fucked up. You're getting caught. You've left. But I feel like you have better creativeness, better storytelling. I didn't feel like this was as.
I don't think it was a matter of story. Okay,
Like I think he told the story
here's
well.
the
I just think
thing.
that it's a boring part.
I think that it's a relevant, a necessary part to the people like, again, some of the flaws on this album is a bit of the datedness, right? So if I were to criticize this, it's that like Soldier's hype because it's got this universal aggressiveness that kind of transcends the dated feeling of maybe some of the specific lyric content, right? Like you can never get tired of Eminem bitching about Kim. It's just kind of part of it. But with Say Goodbye Hollywood, you have like this elaborate breakdown, and it doesn't like have some it's all about this incident and him kind of almost like this track was an apology to his fans for nearly messing up. So if you look at it from that angle,
and Haillie.
it totally makes sense. It is supposed to be, I guess, wishy-washy as you put it. But I felt it was just authentic and a little dated because at a certain point, you always are kind of like, I'm okay with not hearing about Eminem messing up on this one. It's nice that he does admit it, and I still think it's a beautifully rapped song in both the sense of a rapped package and excellently rapped.
I give this one a 3.5. I mean,
Yes.
it's not the best. That's it.
I give it a 3.5 as well, Bonnie. Don't worry.
All right.
What about drips? Do you guys like drips?
No.
It's mandatory, like taking hoes' money, but that's another story. For surely,
I don't know how the hell this is a thing. This is look. Here's the track. Obie Trice fucks Denise from the Cleaners and gets AIDS. Eminem
Fun fact.
also fucks Denise from the Cleaners and gets AIDS.
Doesn't know.
They both get AIDS.
Oh, I was under the impression that like he had sex with Kim or something.
No,
maybe
they were both banging Denise from the Cleaners.
Okay.
Because he got the thing from Obie's penis is one of the lines. Like he got the disease.
Okay.
And now he's got to confront her is how he ends the second verse. Like the doctor. Anyway, it's just terrible. The beat is awful. Like the chorus is.
Well,
It's like,
hold on. I don't think it's terrible. I think
it's terrible.
that from what I
It's
understand, Denise is banging both M and Obie, but
she's great.
They don't know that they're.
Yeah, no, they don't know.
They don't know that she's sleeping with both of them.
Okay, look,
and
it's
then
just...
Eminem basically finds out near the end.
But let's go a little bit deeper. So the first verse, is Obie Trice. He's like, yeah, I met this girl. And then it breaks into Obie Trice porno mode, but includes fun lyrics like, she foaming from the lips, the ones between the hits. Pubic hair's looking like some sour cream dip without the nacho. My dick hit the spot, though. I'm just like, why would you hit that? Like, how desperate are you, Obie?
But, like, does he know? No, because
he knows that he looked at it, and it looked like that, foaming. I've never seen one foaming. That's fair.
I've
seen a... Go find me a porn where she's foaming, please. I'm certain there are.
I just thought, like... Anyways, I don't know.
Anyway, so it sounds
I just
rotten.
picture the comment lighting.
And then, like,
I just picture all the trolls going, rah!
And then M is just like, I gotta beat her because she lied to me. And I'm just going in my head, look, this is supposed to be like the wear a condom because AIDS is bad song. And they made a goofy, awful story about how if you bang without a rubber, you're going to get AIDS.
That's the inevitable story. You can't trust people because they might be banging your friend.
No, it's like if you sleep with promiscuous women unprotected, you're going to get...
That is what I inevitably got. But just the whole concept of them banging the same woman, I was like, this could also be that she knows both of them. She's trying to gold dig to both of them.
Well, it's not gold digging. It's that you can't trust people who you're sleeping with unprotected because, as you can see, both M and Obie bang the same girl. So yes, you're right. There is that element of you don't know who you're sleeping with, so you shouldn't have unprotected sex, and because you could get AIDS.
Yes.
Or the drips, which was chlamydia and gonorrhea.
Jesus.
So yeah, that's what it is.
Look, I just loathe this song. In my opinion, this album is like pure classic rating. Maybe you guys didn't like the last track, but still, giving your other grades, it's still riding high as a classic. And then Obie Trice Gets AIDS song comes on, and you're just like, look, I get it. Obie Trice was like the new artist to Shady Records, and his album dropped, and honestly, Got Some Teeth is a hoot. It's a good song, and the setup is a great song, and I don't want to shit on Obie, but this was a freaking god-awful song. This is the first album in history, I will go this far, as to say that the edited version actually is better than the unedited version because they cut drips. It's gone.
Okay.
So I can deal with the lack of cussing because the song's just gone. So my rating would have just gone up. This shit's a 2. It gets points because it's sort of creative.
Yeah. It is about what it is. And I think it is just like this weird story. And then it's like, is he admitting to this? Like, is it...
Yes.
Does he actually have AIDS?
No.
You say that, but we don't know. And
you would have known if either of these guys had AIDS by now.
By now, at least.
100%. But what I'm saying is, this song is the PSA for no condomless sex. That's what this is.
He knows that kids aren't going to listen to it, but if we put this song on the album, at least there'll be a warning of sorts.
No, but for real. I don't think people listen to this song. Look, if Drips is your favorite, please, I would love to know what you like about this song. But I think on an ethical front, it's stupid. Eminem's just like, oh, blah, 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 I'm going to beat this woman down. That's my solution to everything. Obie doesn't even make sex sound fun. Okay? I bet Big Crit can make sex sound fun.
We know
Big Boy can make sex fun.
Why are you even good?
What's Obie doing? It's such a goofy song. Okay, anyway, somebody else talk. I'm dominating again. Yeah. They get mad when I talk too much.
It was weird. It is what it is. I gave it a 3.5 because I don't think it's awful. I understand your point of view, but I get that there's still something to it, but it's not something that I would want to listen to again.
I know I haven't given a lot of 2s, but this is not boring. This is bad to me.
Okay.
Gave this a 4.
Oh.
I like this song. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was creative. It is very descriptive, and it's a little bit disgusting, yes. But given that we're talking about Eminem here, and given that he's
Puke's
basically
not a good song.
fucked in the head, and he made Puke.
Which is a bad song.
Agreed, fine,
This
but
is just as bad.
I like his take on the PSA on wearing condoms.
I love
And
the message. So
I love
it gets
the
it too.
message. So I also, again, I listened to the song, and at first glance, I mean, obviously it's about wearing condoms and safe sex, but I was like, this could happen when you're fucking with people, and like when people are fucking your friend, and like now
that-
you're screwed because of this and this, and it's an awkward situation.
Well,
for you, like-
obviously, it's a realistic situation that can happen.
So
in an
I was
extreme
like, hey,
sense
this
of
is
that.
a very creative song touching upon two things. At least the way I took it, I was like, this is touching upon safe sex and who you're fucking with.
Maybe in
Make sure it's your own
2017,
person.
Drips is a more relevant song. Because
Well, what are we in now?
I know, but that doesn't change the fact that, like, okay, look, you guys know how I feel about this. I could just go
That's
on
fine.
at length about my dislike of this song.
All right.
And I remember growing up, everyone agreed with me. This was, like, pretty, like, everyone I know agreed this was the bad one on the album.
You know what everyone agreed with me on, though?
Everyone liked Without Me.
Yes.
Obie Trice.
Someone to take and get ready, 'cause this shit's about to get heavy. I just settled all my lawsuits. Fuck you, Devin!
Well, all of a
Without
sudden,
Me.
Much Music started releasing this crazy music video where Eminem's popping out dressed as Batman and Robin
Well,
with Dre.
this is just the fun version of business.
No, this is the real Slim Shady Part 2.
Yes, but I feel like in terms of this album, he's basically going, the rap game ain't nothing without me. And in business, he's
I
like,
don't- I
I'm here
don't-
to save the rap game. So
I
I'm
don't
like,
think
oh,
it's
okay.
about the rap
Interesting.
game. I think it is about entertainment in general.
Okay.
Okay, so check it.
It's like this is his comeback, you know. He's here.
So
to...
first of all, he's back, right?
Yeah.
And keep in mind,
Back again.
well, yeah, but I've created a
Tell a friend.
monster because nobody wants to see Marshall no more. They want Shady. I'm chopped liver. I never really thought about that before. Like I maybe said the line like a million fucking times in my head, like or rapped along. But basically, he's like, holy shit, I created this Slim Shady character, and now nobody really cares about me anymore. It's just this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you want Shady, this is what I'll give you. A little bit of weed mixed with some hard liquor. To just show you, like, look, Shady's not even authentic. I have to do this to get there to be... Oh, so fucking
I gotta
good.
get fucked up to him.
Yep.
And he's flossing here and shit. And he's like a rebel, so let me just revel and bask in the fact that I got everyone kissing my ass, and it's a disaster, such a catastrophe for you to see so damn much of my ass. You asked for me. So remember when that like part where his ass was on my cover and it got put everywhere? I don't know, man. He disses celebrities here, kind of like the real Slim Shady.
Yeah.
And then that chorus, he's like saying, look, you guys all got rid of me. You made me go away. But don't it just feel a little empty without me? See, it's not about hip-hop. This one, to me,
how do
it's
you-
more about stuff like the fact that the variety... Because look at the music video. It's targeting reality television.
I understand that, but I'm asking you. The chorus is, now this looks like a
it-
job for me, so everybody just follow me because we need a little bit of controversy because it feels so empty without me, right? But how do you get that they put him away? Are you like
What I'm
relating that,
saying
like
is
connecting it with the verse? Or?
No, I'm connecting that with what's happening in the world, right? So you have the Marshall Mathers
They're trying to
LP.
get rid of
It's
him.
protested. Nobody wants him there. They're in court trying to
Fair,
shut him
okay.
down. Lawsuits. The FCC won't let me be or let me be me. So let
Yeah.
me see. They try to shut me down on MTV.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, you
I'm
can shut him
feeling
down,
like
No,
but people-
yeah.
this
They're
is a
still gonna
little
want it.
just. It's not so much about rappers as the entertainment industry. And what I was noticing when we were watching the music video
That's
today.
different.
And also like just like free speech in general. It's like, you know, you should be allowed to say whatever you want. I mean, obviously there's with regard to, you know, who you're hating and, you know, what's happening, but if he's talking truth and nobody wants to hear it, then they're going to shut him up, and it sucks.
But then you also have to consider what's happening in 2002 is the rise of reality television, which is something you're watching. When you're watching the shows that he's making fun of and stuff in the music video, you're realizing it's the very beginning, and he's just kind of going, how is all of this ridiculous shit, like, there? That's what you're left with.
I
Without
like-
me
I like
and my
when he went,
authentic ridiculous shit.
I like when he went the Elvis line.
I
where
was
he's-
about to actually,
Yeah.
because no, I'm not the first king of controversy. I am the worst thing since Elvis Presley to do black music so selfishly and use it to get myself wealthy.
Hey,
Because
there's a
Elvis
concept that
stole
works.
music.
A million other motherfucker
A million other white rappers emerged, but no matter how
yeah.
many fish in the
the
sea.
sea, it would be
So
one.
what he's saying there is like, look, I'm acknowledging that for all terms and purposes, your criticism of me being like Elvis is right. I am doing this,
But I
at
paved
the
the way
same
for all
time,
you white rappers.
no. But while he's saying that, but he's saying even if that's the
But
case,
he's not the first one to do
and
it.
even
and he's not
if
gonna be the
all these
last.
white rappers come and do what you said Elvis did, because rock and roll got flooded, blah blah blah.
Right.
There will never be another one that's me. I will still be me, and it wasn't just because I'm white. It's like a little shot saying it's not because I'm a white rapper. It's not. I am not Elvis because of that. Elvis did just steal the music, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying I kind of did it by being me. It's more than just that. And I think it's like there's so many statements. And then he disses Moby. And I'll never forget watching this Moby interview. And Moby's response was like,
yeah, what was it?
it was, I'm really confused. I haven't actually made a techno album because at this time he was releasing shit like Porcelain and like fucking pop stuff that
Yeah,
wasn't.
he was doing really well right there.
And then he's like, how am I the fag if Eminem's asking me to blow him? Wouldn't that make him the fag? And I just,
Well,
I mean, just
Like,
if
I
you
can-
ever
I can
looked
just,
at
like,
Moby,
I can just
I wanna-
see Moby doing that.
I
Like, he's
wanna-
like, but why? Like,
Eminem in an interview, and I found this to be so funny. He was asked like, how do you call out so many like art actresses, artists, and all this stuff? And, like, why do you attack so many people? And Eminem's just there, and he's like, look, to tell you the honest truth, I might not even have beef with you if your name
You're just
happens
gonna
to
get
rhyme with
attention.
the last line, and your name is what comes out of my mouth. That is going in because you rhyme with the last
Yeah.
verse. And I was like,
and it makes sense.
yes.
because Moby was just like, what? Like,
Like it
like
was
he
the
has
most.
nothing to
like
do with
Moby,
him,
I
and then
mean-
and he's just like, okay, I mean, whatever, and then he pretends to be Moby
And then
at some
it's got
point.
that like ending that, which is again showing because him and his guys dress up as Osama bin Laden and D12 comes in and parties in the video, and I
Yeah.
didn't really
When they're in
notice
the
it
bunker
before.
in the
But when you
ground.
pointed out that line, Bunny, of this Saddam shady line, he's again reinforcing, look, I am the
Like,
modern
he's the real
terrorist.
terrorist, yeah.
And it's amazing. Like, honestly, this is a true 5. No other version of this song. Like, look, the real Slim Shady's dope. This might be a little stronger.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that what comes next on the next album is far worse. It's far worse. But a lot of people like that one.
What's
But hold on. This is just definitely like
Oh.
the best. I also give it a 5 on 5. I think it's great. I think it's everything. I have
Maybe
happy.
it's 2 albums
This,
later.
this is hold on. I have happy fond memories of this song because, like I said at the very beginning, this is why.
Oh, it's a story. Story time.
Story time. At my sister's wedding when I was like 16, she was a lot older than me, and like this song played at the wedding, and it was probably the first time I've ever seen my mom dance to a rap song, and it was very interesting, and we still like make fun of her a little bit for it. You know,
Can you do the moves?
it's something like she didn't really know what to do, and it was like very awkward, and she's trying to be cool and be a dancer, but all she knows is how to do the twist. So it's like
Without me.
she's just kind of like, oh, okay, this is it, and it's
I
cute.
can't
It was
wait
very
to-
cute.
to
She's
bring
very
this
white.
up again.
It is a G.
All right. So what'd you give it?
5 on 5, 100%.
I feel like the whole world agrees, including Mr. Paul Rosenberg.
Yes.
Paul, listen. Joel just called me and he told me you're in the fuck.
I like this. I like
It's a stern message.
the authority. And this is partially because I do agree with the annotation on Genius, but I like
What does the annotation say?
Well, the annotation simply says that the reason why this skit is here is to show some authority in the fact that out of all this absurd nonsense, the violence and all this stuff, there is still people behind Eminem going, listen, smarten the fuck
Trying
up.
to rein him
Like,
in.
leave your gun at home.
But
Stop
it's amazing,
being...
right? Because it follows up off the last Paul Rosenberg skit,
Yeah.
which this is what, the third Paul? Is it?
I think so, yeah.
On the album? Or,
No, there
or
was
like
one on
in-
the Slim Shady, I think,
Okay, so
was
you're
Paul.
going album-wise. Okay.
And yeah, because you're watching them like kind of grow up with Eminem,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so, I mean, especially
sort of
if,
traditions
if you
to, like,
kind of like
Eminem's albums.
consider their relationship now, all these years later,
Mm-hmm.
with like I mean, we were just listening to Paul and Eminem having a conversation on Shade 45, eagerly awaiting this revival album like idiots.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I
Leave
liked it.
your fucking gun at home.
Anyway,
But
I
wanna-
feel like
I wanna-
you can almost tell that Paul is like his father figure at this point in his life, and he plays
true.
that role. He is like and he's his manager, right? So it kind of makes some sense. But
Well, because the
I
whole
don't-
point of this song is that he's leaving a message for Eminem, and he, it's very short. It's 22 seconds, and he's just saying, "Listen, the manager called me, and you've been shooting your gun in the back of like the studio. Like, stop shooting your gun. It's not like a gun range or whatever. Leave your fucking gun at home. Like, you're gonna get in trouble."
But I just want to. I like.
It's a 4.
It sounds like Paul Rosenberg has called M repeatedly. This isn't the first time this has happened.
This is definitely the 17th voicemail.
But I do want to touch upon something. And again, this is I'm going to quote the annotation from Genius again. But it's funny because where's Haillie? Haillie would be at home. And Eminem's kind of like holding his gun so that the baby doesn't find the gun, which happens very often, apparently.
Oh, good lord!
So I was like, I'm like, oh my god, this is funny because it's like, okay, well you got
I hope it's locked up somewhere.
Hold on,
you leave your gun at home. You're supposed to keep your gun locked up safely.
Yes, I totally agree. It's a law and everything. I'm saying that I kind of. I like that two-sidedness to this because I was like, well, Rosenberg is like, dude, no, like you have to be mature and adult and stop doing this.
You're making this like two-sidedness up. He's saying if you have your gun on you, you're gonna pull it out and do stupid shit, and you almost went to jail. What the fuck's wrong with you? Leave your fucking gun at home.
Yeah.
And you're going, if he leaves his gun at home,
he's
gonna be in danger.
I'm literally quoting the annotation.
And I'm saying that quote
I was like,
is just
okay,
trash.
This is funny. It was funny to me. I was like, but M's probably thinking this.
M's not thinking that. M never thought that.
I gave this a 4 though.
It's a 4 because do you know why? Because it fits the album perfectly, and just like Curtains Up, it fits the album perfectly. But come on, it's the Paul Skits. Like they're just kind of him talking and giving them shit.
Yep.
And then
every time.
You know what follows?
Staying for the moment.
Yeah, that's what follows.
Rags in a stocking cap. His stepfather hit him, so he socked him back and broke his.
When I was like 15, I was idolizing my favorite rapper and learning all his songs.
And when I was 15, I was idolizing
the Eminem Show.
When I was 15, my boyfriend at the time dyed his hair blonde to look just like Eminem.
That's funny.
When I was 15, I was idolizing the rapper who made the song about idolizing rappers.
Who?
I fucked that up. But this song. I was idolizing Eminem while listening to this song.
For me, it was like, I remember this song being like a single. I remember having my headphones on and being like, and idolize the favorite rappers and know all their songs. And I was going through shit in my life. Yeah. And I remember, like, I come from a religious background at that point, upon which shit, like, these ideas are, in fact, nightmare for my white parents whose worst fear was a child with shit like dyed hair and who likes earrings. Yep. And whatever they said may have had... I could go through this whole song almost line for line and fucking love it.
I got accepted with the dyed hair and the earrings.
I did not. It was a very different world. But then it's because you got, like, seriously, this song's full of, like, gems. Like, this is an awakening song for him, right? Like, his recognition. So we've had all the bullshit on the album, and now we've got to this moment where...
He's basically singing to the kids that shouldn't be listening to this album in the first place, but he knows that they're the ones who are buying it, and he's saying, like, this is who it is, because they want to hear me, because they want to know something that, someone who looks like me is going through.
That's totally the first verse.
They don't have, like, anybody to, inspire them, and I guess that he's it,
So yeah, the first verse kind of pictures his target demographic, that poor white kid in a broken home. And then you have the second verse where he's really kind of going into, like, again, the lawsuits and the kind of things where people want him, like...
on, like what
it's just shit.
Fame looks like and how people interpret
or
fame.
Like, I guess words are a motherfucker. They can be great or they can degrade, or even worse, they can teach hate. It's like these kids hang on every single statement we make. Like, they worship us, plus all the stores ship us platinum. So it's like...
And he doesn't want, like, even his own daughter to listen to his music.
Which is true.
So, like, what he says is, it's like, these kids shouldn't be listening to it. But, I mean, I get it. It's like, they have nobody else, and they're going to listen to any other rapper. Then, they might as well listen to him, and he's going to give them a good message. Something that, you have to live for the moment. And don't worry about tomorrow, because it could be bad.
And then you got, like, just the way that third verse, like...
I like the third verse.
They say music can alter moods and talk to you. What can it load a gun up for you and cock it too? Well, if it can, then the next time you assault a dude, just tell the judge it was my fault, and I'll get sued. And I love this because the whole third verse kind of like flows into his recognition of the impact he's having on the kids, but also the immortality of his lyrics and his words. Like just the end of it. I know, let our spirits live on through our lyrics that you hear when they're sung. And
to continue what you were saying earlier. Right after that, about can you load a gun up for you and cock it too? Because if it can, the next time you assault a dude, tell the judge it was my fault and I'll get sued. See what these kids do is hear us talk about
us toting pistols, and they want to get one because they think the shit's cool, not knowing we really just protecting ourselves. We entertainers. Of course, the shit's affecting our sales.
I like that.
And what he's saying there
very
is
real.
They have to rap about these guns in a gangster kind of way because it'll sell the albums, even though they really have the guns for protection because they need a gun for protection.
And also, like, the whole point, too, is that, you know, he's showing you that he gets riled up by, like, you know, as a publicity stunt, and like, or I guess maybe not. I guess by like, you know, by like the people who, you know, the media and stuff. They're trying to provoke him and like trying to get like a reaction from him, and he's just like, fuck this shit.
He acknowledges that also on the Real Slim Shady when he makes that line about I know it's not this album, but like the line about having him show up just to like get views and stuff like that. Like
but this was like
even the one where what's the one where he falls from the building? It's like the whole video.
The way I am.
It's kind of like that too. It's like the same sort of like thought. It's like, you know, people are doing this just to see like what his reaction's gonna be.
And then everyone wants his money. They find him to be a threat. Like, I love the for the judge's daughter, but his grudge is against me. If I'm such a fucking menace, this shit doesn't make sense. It's all political. If my music is literal, then I'm a criminal. How the fuck can I raise a little girl? And then again, I finally figured out who Guerrero was. That was a fist that hit you. I didn't know my whole life until today. Now I know. I didn't really pay attention.
Who's Guerrero?
It's the bodyguard he fucking
Kim
lied.
kissed.
So he's saying it wasn't a gun that hit you. It was a fist, which changes the charge. Then you got actually the guitarist from Aerosmith in the song doing the solo at the end. You got Steven Tyler's Interloped On. It's called Dream On by Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. And just that chorus. And you know what? It's not just Steven Tyler singing. It's the Eminem in the background going, sing! Come on, sing it! Like, just like you can hear him like yelling. And this is one of my favorite songs of all time. I like Soldier better because Soldier's my favorite Eminem song. But like, if we take a step back, this track has inspired me and been a huge, like, I don't know, man, people my age and stuff, this was the banger that helped you get through some shit.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what it was. It was for the people, you know, for anybody, for any kid or whoever was struggling, going through something. And like, he just wanted, you know, to be like, you know, live right now and don't worry about tomorrow. Because, I mean, if there's shit, then whatever, but just be happy and sing this song, you know, even if you just put it on and then that's going to be it. He just wants to give inspiration. And then he was nominated for an Academy Award because of this song.
Yes, he was.
Academy Award, like Oscars?
Yeah, and I can't remember. I guess it must have been for 8 Mile.
No, that was Lose Yourself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I'll
I have
to
look up that, but I mean, it's a 5 on 5.
I gave this song also a 5 on 5. When I first started listening to it, I was going through some really, well, to me, some fucked up shit. And it's like everything I could relate to, I could understand. And again, I like the verse. I really like the verse where he addresses how kids are listening to rap music and they have to make this type of rap music because I've always been like, I don't want to make that type of rap music because that's not who I am. I want to make music that I want to make, you know? And I like how he acknowledges it while he's also validating that it wasn't a gun that hit Guerrero, it was a fist. And it's like he follows up with this song in every verse. I feel like he follows up everything one after another in terms of each message he wants to say in each verse.
Yes.
5 on 5.
Nice. And like, you know, why would he doesn't want kids to listen to this. He's just kind of saying, like, he doesn't want kids to be raised, like, improperly. And so he's just trying to make music that isn't for kids, but he wants... Anyways, it's just that constant struggle.
I would say he might... I think part of me thinks that he makes music for kids because he knows that kids are listening to this type of music. And he wants to acknowledge it, like, just because you're listening to it doesn't mean you have to live like it.
What I always understood the beginning was the critics never understood why the kids were listening to Eminem. So this was kind of an explanation to explain a bit of the conflict between how the critics and the media were painting the picture and why the kids were actually listening. I know he addresses stuff about him, whether kids should hear his music on other songs. I don't really see it here. I think here he's saying, I know people are listening to my music, and here's why. And then he's also addressing, and because of like, it's just, I understand the impact of what's being said to people, and it's almost like he's taking ownership and saying, fine. And this is like the precursor to Not Afraid.
Fair enough.
That's how I see it. To me, I could see how as time went on he would grow to that point, because it's more of that positive, uplifting kind of feel to it. I don't know. All I can say is Eminem can't be your Superman.
Rick man, kiss my ass, kiss my lips, bitch, why ass, kiss my dick, hit my cat.
This is his I'm Single track.
A little bit.
I don't think this is the I'm Single track.
It's a little bit, yes. It's his well, I mean, go on. What do you think it is?
Okay, I can acknowledge that, yes, he's single and he's like having fun and doing it around, but I think this is Eminem sitting a girl down and looking at her like, listen, I'm gonna lay down the game plan. This is what I want, and this is why, because of XYZ reason. And if you can't, then you can get your drunk ass onto the curb, and I will move on to the next one.
I think you're partially right. I think you're dumbing down the message of this a little bit, because it's got more to it. So he's like, first of all, the chorus is brilliant, because the chorus is just like, yo, all I have to do is just say whatever to a girl. I'll be whatever. I'll lie to you to get in your pants, whatever. And then the fact that she's just so easy and all this, bitch, you make me hurt. It's putting a state of mind. I'm kind of disgusted by the way this all is, right? And the song's kind of about how...
Like what? She fell for his like sleazy tricks in a sense?
No, because all these women are
he says
throwing...
something like, we just had sex and it's our first date or something. Of course I don't...
We just met and I just fucked you.
Yeah,
like,
of course I don't trust you.
You know, it's kind of like that. It's more like... In the first verse, he's saying shit like, well, first of all, I'm not going to buy you shit. Like, bitch, if you die, I wouldn't buy you life. Like, why do you expect me to, like, get you things? Like, wouldn't piss on fire to put you out. He's like, look, stop trying to get things out of me. I'm not interested in this. And then he's got, like, in the next verse, like, he's going into just almost, like, more, do you really want to date me? Do you really want to, like, I'm going to chase you around cars. I'm going to chase you around. Like, you got the girl screaming in the back.
Car I'll be in.
You got all this, like, look, it's like, I'm not a jealous man, but females lying. Here is where, yes, you're right. He's a little bit sitting her down. He's like, look, I know you want to date me, but, like, there's no feelings here. There's no emotion. We just banged. How do you expect me to even respect you at this point? Like, come on, be realistic. So, yeah, I like to get laid, but...
That's a little harsh. I mean...
But it's realistic.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
And then in the third verse, he's just kind of making fun of people who are like, love that tattoo. What's that say? Rotten pieces. That's great. And then he's just like lays out like, first off, you don't know me. And you don't know this. And I'll slap you off that bar stool. And I'll put anthrax on a Tampax and leave handprints all across you. But like, if you really look at what he's being like, he's like, all these people come up to me like I owed him something, like this, that, the next thing. Yeah. And he's trying to establish with this track that he's like, look, I can't be your Superman. I'm not that person. And these are all women looking for a guy to come and save them from their circumstances. Oh, I love celebrities. I'm always like this. And he's just like in the video looking at her ass and shit and like, whatever. These are just my regular life.
Yeah.
Video's fantastic. You got that scene where he's just lying there with all the women around him, and I feel like it's not meant to be like sleazy. It's just like, this is how easy it is for me. This is where I'm at in life. Like, I can't
he can't go wrong with the ladies.
But he getting all this casual, aimless, like, this is the equivalent of the bitches ain't shit stuff from like the old school 90s, but done in a degree of like, I can't be your Superman. Like, this is how you guys are looking at me, but really I'm just like, there's so much to this track. It's almost 6 minutes. It never gets boring. You've got the like two choruses interlooped over each other. You've got just the theater side to the elements. You've got such a fun beat, because it's like this beat where like it sounds sexy and it sounds like it should be one of those R&B, let's get it on kind of almost tracks a little bit. But instead, it's just the opposite.
Like, whatever, ho.
And it's funny. Like, it really has this humorous moments. It's got like multiple delivery mechanisms in it. I think it's one of Eminem's best deliveries on this album. I think it's a great track. I think it never gets boring. I have loved this song since the first time I've heard it. It is another 5 because fuck, man, This might be the best part of the album for me. This trilogy of songs here between these skits, best part of the album.
All right. I think it's good. I like the way, you know, he's obviously telling a story about everything. He talks about the Mariah Carey relationship.
Mariah flat through twice?
Yeah, like kind of story that he hears, or I'm guessing like I do have like a vague like memory from like back in the day.
So there's nothing confirmed. We know that Mariah flew down to see him with private jets a couple times.
He's not gonna like say it didn't happen because it clearly did, and she's not gonna say it did happen because she's in denial. They have multiple
diss songs
they
about
both
it.
dissed each other. On,
There's the Obsession song or whatever.
But then I don't know. Like there was like. Apparently, I can't remember if it was she flew him or if she flew out.
She flew herself down there with private jets to Eminem's place, which was proven. Eminem
she did it more than once.
It was like a couple of times. Eminem was just like, I banged you, because in this 2009 track that he responds to her diss track.
Like, oh no, I didn't do such a thing, but she's such a diva, so I assume that.
This was like
maybe.
It's a lot of speculation with no hard details, but it definitely. You should check out that Eminem diss track if you want his version of events. Her version of events is it never happened. He's just obsessed with me. We talked on the phone a couple of times, and that's it. And then he's like flat out like, I got pictures. So like.
But we've all been there. We've all like been, or you know, speaking as a lady, like we've all been with guys that we didn't really want to admit to. Or like maybe something like that, which is harsh. I know. I get it, and I think that's what she's doing. I think she's kind of like, oh no, like he's such a controversy. He's such a bad guy. I would never be with him.
And wasn't she like in a relationship with somebody else at the time too? Or anyway, I think that the Mariah Carey Eminem scandal is just kind of one of the worst of his beefs. It's just kind of lame. Nick Cannon got involved, and that's how you know it's messed up.
Yeah. Anyways, I gave this one 4.5.
Boo.
I gave this a 5.
Who likes Haillie's song?
I enjoyed it.
What I found out today while looking into the song a bit was that Eminem produced this beat and recorded the whole thing on his own, and Mr. Andre had to convince him to put this on the album, and thank goodness he did. Yeah. What a song.
It's a cute song, and it's like original because, I mean, TBH, I mean, you don't hear a lot about, like, rappers, singing about being a good father.
No. You don't hear a lot of rappers like Eminem sing.
Yes, okay, True. Yes, there's that too, because he admits that he's not a great singer, but he wants to sing just because he's so happy, and he loves his daughter so much, and he's so proud of her and everything, and he gets to have her now because this is when he, like, got custody from Kim to have Haillie.
And as we know, and it's mashed up on both the explicit version and the edited version, Mummy didn't want the baby.
Want her. That's what's mashed up. Yeah. Want her.
Yeah, and I think it's original that you hear like a rapper singing about being a good father because a lot of them
want her in the sense of like not keep the baby. I think it's want her in the sense of during the custody battle. That's what was said because the Genius Note references that this was censored because of the ongoing custody battle was happening when the song was done, so they didn't want to have that there. I could be wrong. But man, this song is just beautiful. Like the first verse, like some days I sit staring out the window, watching this world pass me by. Sometimes I think there's nothing to live for. Almost break down and cry.
Through the forest.
Right. And then it always comes back to like how his daughter is like the center of his life. And didn't he just get to that chorus where he just wails, sometimes I feel like
but you can hear the passion and the emotion in his wailing because he says it, he can't sing, but the fact that he's doing it out of love for his daughter and the passion and the affection and everything it's just amazing. It's like it kind of breaks you away from this sociopathic psycho whatever image he's got. And it kind of shows like, Eminem's got a heart. I mean, we all know he does.
Then he drops that rap verse.
Yes. And
it might be the best verse on the album. Like,
even better than Soldier?
Soldier's a song.
Well, I mean,
it's as a package.
So this verse is better than an entire song?
This verse is better than any one verse on Soldier, yes. But the song that is Soldier, I enjoy more than Haillie's song. And
Okay.
again, I didn't say it was the best song. I said it was
Best
my
part.
You're
favorite song.
You're absolutely right. I'm just being a shit.
And you lost. So Haillie's song though has maybe what I think to be the best verse because it's so honest, passion to his fucking kids. Like,
Well, it's like everything about her. It's like she's the motivation for everything that he does. And then if he's having like a, you know, a dull moment and if he feels bad or, you know, he's insecure, he can look at Haillie and like she looks up to him and trusts him and it doesn't matter anything like at
it's
all.
also like when he's addressing Kim and shit when he's like, I've been to jail for this woman. I've been to bath for this woman. I've taken baths to people's backs, bent over backwards for this woman. Man, I should have seen it coming when I ripped the prenup up and like all of that shit. And you just feel like this raw passion. All he wants is to be a good father. And it's like, I don't know, I had a shit father. So when I see a guy going out of his way to like be that good father and stuff, it's like, from my point of view, that's all any one of us with bad fathers ever wanted. So to see a dude as messed up as Eminem being so devoted, it's almost inspirational on top of all of that shit.
Yeah, well, he also had, you know, like, he didn't have a father, and, like, he had a really shit mom, and so it was just, like, he wants to be, like, the best example of a parent that anybody can be, and, like, he takes care of her, and it's great.
And the beat's amazing. And, like, you can almost feel the intimacy between Eminem and the beat, given he produced it and everything. And I don't know, it's... I guess
Didn't
you
he
can
say
guess...
it feels so good to be back on this?
What?
Like,
I don't think so.
you know, I feel like in the beginning he goes, it feels so good to be back, but it doesn't sound the same way as another song he says. Because another song, it's like, it's...
In the other songs, feels so good to be back. But then in this one, no. I don't remember that part. But I gave this a 5 because it's the best song Eminem ever did about Haillie. I don't care what you guys think about Mockingbirds. Haillie's song is better.
I don't know. I give this one a 4. I liked it. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was heartfelt, but it's not my favorite song, but I think it's probably Haillie's favorite song. So, I mean, I don't know. It's cute. I've looked her up. She's, like, already grown up. She's, like, I don't know, 20 or something, and, like, she looks like a
My
normal
age.
girl, you know? Like,
She's
she's all grown up.
I gave this song a 4.5. It's not my favorite song, but it's an amazing song. Again, like I said, the honesty and the just the pure emotion that he has and the pure love he has for his daughter and just seeing him go through everything, especially like again, you hear Eminem going like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna do this, and then he's here like, give me my daughter, like.
Yeah, but
I'd give him his daughter, bro.
To be
Pistol
fair,
whipping bouncers.
on this album, you don't really hear
It's
him
his
say
fist.
any of that "I'm gonna kill you" stuff.
No, I know. I'm not saying on the
And-
album. I'm saying just like on the general, like when you hear Eminem, you always think of like the crazy, insane killing songs. I mean,
See,
maybe I do.
Maybe you
I don't,
do.
I don't.
When I think of Eminem, I just think of a prolific artist with a wide variety of stuff. And honestly, I hate it when he does the "kill you" kind of stuff, and I like it more when he does the Haillie song. Like these last 3 songs. They're amazing. And even Soldier, it's not about killing people and shit like that. It's his explanation into his obsession with the culture and things like that. And so when Eminem goes introspective like that, it's far more interesting to me than when he releases stuff like that terrible, shady X5 Cypher verse.
Fair enough.
On that note,
Let's check out Steve Berman.
Call you back. What now? I don't even know where to start.
so this is the 3rd Steve Berman skit. The first one, I think, was on MMLP1.
Yeah.
The second one was on D12 Devil's Night.
Yeah, okay.
And then this one comes in, and in the background is a D12 song playing called Ain't Nothing But Music. Ain't nothing, like nothing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
music.
it makes sense because the song goes into
Yeah.
a D12 and Eminem song.
And this is, I think, the best Paul Berman skit of the, or sorry, not Paul, Steve Berman. And it's because, like, he calls him in and he's giving him, he's setting up, like all the other ones, about to give him a bunch of shit.
This is the...
And then Eminem's just like, fuck it, and he goes and shoots him. And he's like, the best album ever. So I saw 2 clear theories on this, and I couldn't find a consensus in my head on which one I agreed with.
Okay.
He's sick of the critics.
So no, it's on the one hand, Steve Berman was about to tell him that his album was shit again, but
Yeah.
because he got shot, he changed his mind last second, and that's why he wheezed it out.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
no.
he was intentionally about to tell him that the album was good 100,
But
and the
Eminem
fact that
was
Eminem shot him was just kind of ridiculous because I don't know
Because
which
he
one
was
of
so
those
used
is
to
true.
him
Well,
telling him, "Oh, it sucks,"
yeah,
and whatever.
I would
and he
go
put
with
his
that.
heart and soul
But I
into
could
this.
see how
you know?
either one of those applies here. Either one could be the truth.
I feel like it is the truth that he just really liked it and was just kind of like starting off like, and then riling him up and then like
Oh, you're right, eh?
getting
'Cause
into it.
As
So,
we just pointed out, there wasn't all of that kill you stuff on this album thus far.
yeah, and like, you know, anything is, he's kind of apologizing or admitting to it and like it's not really like being anything. And then up until this point, you know, he kills someone and then he does. This is exactly what Steve doesn't want on his album, and so.
Oh shit! You're
Question. I
Still, it's
just
a
want
4.
to know, does after he killed Steve Berman, is he still?
There's another Steve Berman skit.
Okay, so he's still working with him.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also gave this one a 4. I mean, it was good. It was
We're
short
gonna
and
have
sweet.
to wait, I think, till recovery for it.
I also gave it a 4.
All right, but when the music stops, oh no.
I don't even need to look.
Put some whack shit out. I'm trying to smack this one out the park. 5,000 more. Y'all step.
See you freestyle.
So this is
My
the D-
favorite song on the entire album.
Okay, that's fair.
Nope.
It's the D12 cut. It explores subjects like people taking hip hop and music in a sense too literally. What
That-
happens when their careers end? What happens when they die? And
That
like,
wrapped up for me at the end of the song. I like how Eminem addresses that, like, what happens if he were to die tomorrow? Would anybody really care?
You
Would
mean
he-
if I were to die murdered in cold blood tomorrow,
The
would
first
you feel
line.
sorrow or show love, or would it matter? And then he goes on to kind of describe more shit about his feelings on all that.
Right. On how, like, he's still kind of addressing, like, I might be this and this, but y'all don't really care about me. Y'all care about what I do.
Exactly.
Right?
And then
I feel the other verses, except for the last one, but the other
they follow
verses.
different topics actually. Every verse is about a slightly different subject matter.
Okay, because I found them to be a little bit more just violent, like just more like gangsterism.
That would be Conniva.
Yeah,
Well,
Conniver.
He's super violent.
But Con Artist, as an example, is his whole verse is about how bad it was when he got signed and all of his friends turned on
that's
him,
true.
right?
That's true.
So and you're stressed from the calls of your new friends begging with their hands out, checking for your record when it's 7, when it ain't. That's the end. No laughs, no friends, no girls. Just the gin till you drink till your car spin, and then he
Damn.
dies in a pool of alcohol. But really, this is the only bizarre verse I think blew me out the fucking water.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
I thought
it.
he was pretty cool.
Bizarre, really, and that's where the entire song for me tied in together, because he's basically naming, like, Marilyn Manson, Ludacris, and all
Well,
these
no,
different...
but you gotta like add it. It's like
Yeah,
Marilyn
yeah,
Manson and the influence I got. Okay, so I dyed my hair blue,
Blue
and
and
grew some
boobs.
titties, which
Yeah.
is a
Ludacris
reference
told
to
me to
the,
throw them bows, and now I'm in jail with a
No.
broken elbow.
Man, you should write the words down. You're messing up the lines, dude. It's Ludacris told me to throw them bows. Now I'm in the hospital with a broken nose and a fractured elbow.
You're right, he wasn't in jail.
You're right. I know I'm right. Either way, like it's like that whole verse is pretty crazy, and he brings up the Eddie Murphy transvestite thing, which I didn't know about until Bizarre told me. And
Well, I think it's just because of like all the movies that he'd been, playing in. It's like, they were all, like he was getting really popular for being, playing women and men and everybody. So
that's true. I just think this song is like, and it's really interesting. One of the things that I learned from Genius.com when I happened to click on the annotation for the word shot at the very end is, if you'll notice, the music stops, but the bullet shot and the noise for that keeps going, indicating that when the music stops, whatever gets said and the words and the impact, it lives on beyond the music. And I just never noticed that subtle detail.
But it's also like part of like your imagination, because like you hear like it's like you're hearing the bullet. It's like you're hearing all that, but it doesn't really happen. But you know that it happened.
But
Like at the same time.
But I
But
think
that's part of it. That's
yeah,
part
that's,
of it.
that's
Like,
exactly it. It's like, it isn't real life, and like whatever happens after is
It's
just your
like
imagination.
when you hear a
what I'm
gunshot,
s-
no matter where, you'll always remember
See,
that moment.
I took it more like from what it was trying to symbolize there is, you're right that it's not real life, but the reality is when the music does get turned off, those words, those ideas, and those messages that get left in your head.
Yeah.
All the people who are influenced by, like, look at Good Kid, Mad City and the message it was trying to convey. So when you do turn that music off, what gets said doesn't stop. It still lives on, and that message is a few times. I love how the beat just evolves. Like, it starts off with Eminem, and then just picks up and picks up and picks up as it goes on until
And
it
it
ends
just
with
stops.
that gunshot when it just stops.
Because it's true. I mean, there's a lot of rappers and there's a lot of musicians and stuff who have just killed themselves or have been shot, and so the music does stop, like, for them, like,
and your
after
career
that.
could just end.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, this is a 5 on 5 again.
I've been bumping this since I was 12. This is I love this song. I love the verses. I've always liked D12. So it's just, oh my God, 5 on 5. Nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't have any of that, but I mean, like, it was probably, I'm assuming, maybe the second time I've heard it. Like, I've maybe heard the entire album once, 15 years ago, but yeah, it's a 4 on 5 for me. I really like it.
Fair. So say what you say.
Say how you say it whenever you saying it. Just remember how you said it when you was spraying it. So
I don't like this one as much as I remember liking it when I was younger. So the beat is really my flaw with this song. That beat is the first beat on this whole album, because what I do when I do like my actual album review, it's often going to be the Damn during the recording, and I will listen to each song back to back. So I'll listen to the album throughout the week or whatever. When I'm doing it, I'll listen to it twice in a row. And halfway through the second time I was listening to this track, that beat was just annoying, and it was even the Drips beat I like more than I like this beat. But and if you look at, like, the subject matter, it's really just them kind of jumping on the beefs and the disses of what's going on. So
It's a general beef track, I would say.
like, Dre was going after Jermaine Dupri a few times, and so what I would like to say is that the format of this track with the back and forth in the second verse and beyond, when
was
they really
pretty cool, I found.
Yeah.
and, like, it kind of made me feel a little bit of guilty conscience. Like, even if I could use these powers for good, I wouldn't, which made me think of when they were going back and forth, he was that devil figure.
Yep.
But the rhymes at this point are less impressive than a lot of what I've seen on this album. Like, it's not bad, but, like, hearing him talking about, like, I don't know, Dixie cups, you could never fill me up, or mix me with a cannabis, or Dre with a Dupri, and it's like, okay, it's clever, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Especially decades after this beef, like a decade after this beef and stuff. It's like, so this song is kind of in the more dated category of stuff. Like, yes, they're giants, they're rappers, they're blah, blah, blah. But then Dre didn't go on to do a lot of releasing of music and stuff after this. And so when you're looking at it from the lens of 2017, don't get me wrong, none of the people they were talking about are relevant. And in fact, I watched Cannabis do some embarrassing stuff on a rap battle once where he, like, pulled open this notepad and wanted to read some poetry and got, like, booed out of the battle rap thing.
Aw, poor guy.
Wrong venue. But
Yes.
all that I'm trying to say is it's a great song for what it is, but it might be, with the exception of Drips, the weakest track on the album that's, like, a quality track so
Fair.
Yeah.
far, from my perspective. And it's not Dre. Dre's great, but it almost feels like Em and Dre had to do a song as I'm listening to it. They even call themselves pals, which made me think of you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's like they don't want any trouble, but if they get trouble, then they're gonna pull the trigger first, kind of, in the sense that they're gonna kill you or destroy you or whatever that they're gonna do with you. So I mean, if you talk shit about them, they're gonna you're gonna get it. So that's just kind of what it is. It's just, like I said, just like a general sort of beef track. I gave this, I mean, it's not the best. I gave it a 3.5.
I like how Timbaland shows up at the end, and Timbaland tells me to suck my dick, or whatever.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so at the very end, as it's kind of looping into the next track, I don't hate it. I mean, it's got lyrics and it's got stuff, but
Not a bad track. It's just
it's like, I give it a 4.25. So it's still good,
I give it a 4.
but I didn't want to give it a 4.5 because there are 4.5s I gave that were, like, better songs than this. But I also still like the song. It's just I don't like it as much as a lot of the rest of this album.
Fair.
Till I Collapse would be what we go into next.
Adrenaline shot, the penicillin could not get the illness to stop. Amoxicillin's just.
This song is like Soldier, but with a slower. You see, Chris, we remembered. He brought it up earlier in the podcast, with like a slower beat, same kind of like intro thing. Like he's gonna come in and then till I collapse, I'm spilling these raps long as you feel them. Till the day that I drop, you'll never say that I'm not killing him. Cause when I am not, then I'ma stop pinning him, and I'm not hip hop, and I'm just not Eminem. And it's just like. You get right from the beginning that he's going to keep doing this until the day he can no longer keep doing it, right? Yep. Straight up. And that he's going to address a bit of like the quality of hip hop and just kind of how people are approving him and reacting to his music. And it's almost like he doesn't really feel like people are ever going to take him as seriously or treat him like the rapper he feels he is. He had no idea that in 2017 he would have this reputation that he would have. Yeah. But believe it or not, back then, like,
but I mean, he was huge at that time. Like, it's not that he wasn't. He was definitely, you know.
Yeah, but like the Source gave him a 2-star rating for the Marshall Mathers LP as an example.
I feel like it didn't matter because as much as it was bad, I mean, everybody knew it was good, and it was just like all the critics that were giving him these like shit grades, and so
but
people
it's not just that. It was
more.
like the news publications were keeping him off the greatest of all time list. Like he was just left out of the conversation because of who he was.
But doesn't he acknowledge that?
Sort of.
That's why when you keep me off that list, it does not offend me because I know I'm such a thing of controversy.
Yeah.
And like he's quite humble in the fact that this is the one where he names all the rappers that he thinks are better than him.
Because he goes, because I'm at my wit's end with half the shit that gets in, commenting on like all the rap that's popping these days. Mm-hmm. I got a list. His favorite rappers. Here's the order of my list that it's in. It goes Reggie, that guy he mentions on Walk on Water and full. No, sorry, Reggie. Take it back. It's Redman.
Yeah, Reggie's Redman.
Reggie's Redman. My bad. Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie. Andre from Outkast, Jadakiss, Corrupt from the Dogg Pound Gang, Nas, and then me. And he's saying, look, I see myself on there, but all of those guys are better than me, and I know it. Right, but I should still be on the list, guys. Come on. And then
he still wants it. You know, he's quite glorified,
he wants his confetti to be heavy.
Yeah.
And I love like the line where it's like he just ends it with, because I don't really think the fact that I'm slim matters. A plaque and platinum status is whack if I'm not the baddest. And you just hear that and you're like, he just wants to be this authentic soldier type guy that is just gonna spit the rawest hip hop. I'm like, for shizzle my whizzle, this is the plot. You pizzles forgot, yo, shizzle does not give a fuck. And it's like,
but it's like I like when he was like, a plaque and a platinum status is whack if I'm not the baddest. I was like, I wonder what he thinks of now about the newer rappers. Like, do they think they're
hold on a second. They literally discussed this on the Shade 45 interview.
I remember I reviewed of
so he brought it up. I don't know. He's not very pleased, is what I understand.
No surprise.
I had to review this album, so
he doesn't like mumble rap, right? I think that's what it was.
He's not a huge fan. Nate Dogg gives one hell of a chorus here. Till the smoke clears up, I'm a high perhaps, I'm a whip the shit till my bones collapse. The sky goes on.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I've liked Nate
him.
Dogg
He's got a good voice.
What I've heard him in. So.
No, but this song is beautiful. Like, I know so many people whose favorite Eminem song is Till I Collapse. Like, I know so many people who love this one best.
It has a lot of, like, strength in it. Like, it's not just about the rapping. It's also, when people listen to it, they're like, until I collapse, until I fall, I'm not going to give up, you know? So, it's really empowering.
He's motivated.
Motivating.
Is this the one where he's like, till the fire inside dies and expires at 30? No, that's Soldier. Never mind.
Yeah.
See, it's similar. You're right, Chris. This is a 5. Very big 5.
4?
That's okay.
I gave it a 4, so yeah.
My dad's gone crazy.
Yes.
This one kind of like starts with like Eminem doing coke while listening to this thing on the TV. It's like daddy daughter time, blah blah blah. But what's interesting, and I never caught this before today, was as Haillie walks in, it just changes to like, who's your daddy, in like the creepiest fucking voice. And I noticed that for the first time, and then it goes.
Well, it starts off with like she's like watching TV or something, and it's like, "Do you have a father?"
No,
Blah, 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 or whatever.
Eminem's watching
Yeah,
that.
Eminem's watching the
And then
radio.
you hear
with
like
the
Haillie
radio.
come in, and then it's like, I'm going to hell. Who's coming? And then apparently the story for this is he took Haillie into the studio at one point, had her record a bunch of stuff. Like when she did the My Dad's Gone Crazy, he was like chasing her around and being a goofy.
No, she was just whatever.
Well, according to Eminem, he was chasing her around the studio.
I read that she was just running around going, "Somebody help me! My dad's gone crazy!" And then he was like, "That fit exactly with the beat." And
he
then
said
we put it
I
in.
was chasing her around the studio like a monster, and she did that, and then everything else you said happened.
Yep.
Yes.
It's cute. It's very cute. And like this is like the first time.
And I say that because, to be clear, Haillie was not there when he recorded the rest of the song.
Yes.
Yes. And like that, I can appreciate that because I mean there are other songs where there are children, incorporated into like their music,
Are we
and they're
thinking
not.
about Lil D, or not?
Is it Little D?
Was it Lil D, Lil Ricky,
I'm
Lil
not
somebody
sure. I'm not sure who
from
it
the
was.
Far Side album?
Yeah, probably. And like, I mean, it's not the. Anyways, so yeah, when they have them saying like inappropriate things, but like she's just like, I think my dad's gone crazy, and like she's so cute, and like she tries to do like. So I appreciate that, like, she was only included for those, like, snippets.
She does the chainsaw. Well,
she does the chainsaw
as well.
Or whatever she does.
Yeah,
does the
but I'm
chainsaw,
certain
but-
Eminem just got her to say a bunch of shit.
Well, yeah.
It was very cute.
Man, it's pretty good. Like, I think the real crux of this song. I mean, there's so many great parts, but it's that third verse starts and the beat just flips.
Where he
And he's like,
acknowledges
my
the
songs
power
can
he
make you
has.
cry, take you by surprise, at the same time can make you dry your rhymes with the same rhyme. See, what you're seeing is a genius at work, which to me isn't work, so it's easy to misinterpret it at first. And I feel like what he's trying to do here...
To me, it's tongue-in-cheek. I'll drag my fucking
Again,
teeth before
right.
I ever bite my tongue.
So,
I might
so
slice
we
my
shouldn't
gums.
rap the whole verse for copyright issues
I'm
and shit.
sorry, I just love it.
And like, basically... What you're seeing here is, and he did the same thing on every one of his albums so far. He's like taking the time to stop you and be like, look, I'm not actually serious when I say this shit, people, again.
Yeah.
And then like,
When he
But, like,
addresses
but, like,
sleeping with Dre.
But like she's kidding about being crazy, about her dad being crazy, but I don't think he is. He's like, I think I'm fucking crazy.
but then he's also got all the lines where he's making, where he says all the gay shit about Dre on this.
Dre been
And
fucking
then,
with
But it's
assholes.
also that he's
what's
trying
really-
to deal with the times that like maybe where he grew up and like what he knew that that being gay was wrong and it was inappropriate and blah 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 blah, and like now he's kind of like dealing with like all these people who are kind of coming
Mad
up on
at
him and being like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize gay was okay. Like it's
So
just
all this
kinda
time,
like
me
that.
and
lot
Dre
of
been
people
fucking with
basically-
hats off. Suck it,
A lot
Marshall.
of people basically thought that Eminem only got signed to Dre because he had to do some sexual favors.
That was some like
for his ass.
conspiracy
Rumors.
shit.
And
There's a lot of. I never even heard that shit until way later on. Like we're talking 2010 and beyond when the internet came around, and
I could just see
When
them
the
like all
rumors of-
snuggly,
See,
Dre
like,
and Em in bed.
there's
like,
that one YouTube interview that surfaced in like 2013.
Yeah,
That made it.
we're
But
like-
back then, what I think is really funny is he gets Dre to say "suck it, Marshall," like "shut the fuck up,"
Yeah.
which just doesn't help. It just makes it all kind of
Yeah.
worse. And then there's like,
if they're gay, then that's okay.
and then like your mom, he has the line, and my mother always used to tell me, and
codeine.
like, shut your mouth, motherfucker. You got nothing nice to say. And
I
don't
love-
say nothing, and he goes, fuck that shit, and then probably drops the crudest lines on the entire album.
Yeah, I like that part.
After.
It's good.
I mean, I just think that he establishes that he's kind of crazy in the way geniuses are crazy. So he makes these connections and things. So for him, it's just what it is. Maybe he needs to take a step back and reflect it. That chorus is just, you never forget it. I mean,
I think
it's
my
a
dad's
5.
gone crazy.
It's another fucking 5. It is a truly great track. I love it. Like it. I don't have anything more to really add there. It's just great, and you should listen to it if you have not. As Justin Hunt would say, punch yourself in the face.
Punch yourself in the face. All enthusiastic. God, Justin.
Anyways, I like this song a lot. I thought it was very cute. I liked it. It was happy, but like still kind of like crazy. He is clearly like violent and nuts, but I guess he tries to keep that side away from her as much as possible, but she's still seeing it. So anyways, it's a 5 on 5. I like it.
Fair enough. It's a 5.
All right. That leaves us, I guess, with one more song. Curtains Close.
Perfect.
Where'd everybody go?
Ken Knaff, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
weird.
So the curtain closes.
You hear like
and
the curtain, and then yeah, you
everyone's
hear,
gone. You can literally hear the crickets now.
But okay, wait, Ken Knaff.
It's Ken Kniff.
Ken Kniff, if I recall, is
He's
Ken
the gay
Kniff-
one.
Yeah.
But is he? Because I've always thought that Ken Kniff was the parody of ICP that Eminem
No.
created.
Ken
the character.
Kniff was getting sucked off by ICP in
Right.
the second one. But Ken Kniff was more of the stalkerish, creepy fan, I think, trolling Eminem in the first album.
Yeah.
I don't really
the one
know.
that kept like prank
He's
calling
just
him.
a character that he has here. He comes at the end.
Maybe Ken Knaff or Niff is his like very first stan.
I don't know about that.
Maybe.
But I do think that
He's
it's,
just like this creepy guy.
I think it's an interesting way to end the album because it would have been weird, right? Like he had Steve on it, he had Paul, he had the same skits, and now he's kind of showing like, look, this part of my life is kind of it's behind me. Like these types of things are gone. Like he did. I don't think Ken Kniff came back after this. This was the end. He came at the very end of this album, hidden. And like I think it's meant to kind of just show a little bit that part of his life, that tomfoolery, is not even part of the show anymore.
Okay. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Ken Knaff, the actual character, has a skit or comes back, but he does reference him like a lot and like has him in his in newer
Maybe.
songs that I've heard.
In Relapse, you have like one reference of him in the song about creepy stalker people on the internet.
Oh, that makes sense.
No, I
Ken
think
Knaff on the internet and anyway. So yeah, there are some references, but I mean in terms of being this obscure, offensive character type thing, and it really is the end of like Eminem is never quite as offensive and shocking as he ever was on this album again. Like it just isn't. It's like you got shit like Puke in the future. It's goofy. So I think it was a symbolic gesture to say that part is over, and even if he mentions them again, you don't get like that again.
Yeah.
I still give this a 4. I mean, all the skits on this album, on the exception of the amazing skit, got a 4.
It's just a weird one. It's a weird way to end the album for me. Like you know, I get that you have to close the curtains and whatever, and that he's just going to be like left behind. Is this Ken Kniff character. So he's kind of just left there. Like he's not with the rest of him. He's not with Eminem. He's whatever. He's
no longer part of the show.
Yeah, and so it's still just a weird thing that it just ends, and he's creepy, and it's just like, why? I don't know. I hate Ken Kniff. I gave it a 2 on 5.
I gave it a 4. I feel like listening to the last 2 albums and going in order, I feel like it would have been weird not to have Ken Kniff show up at least once. Like,
No, I mean, I would
least
skip over
once.
this every time. Like, I would be like,
Well,
I would hear him,
It's the
and I'd be like,
ending.
change it.
Nobody would hate you if you skipped the last song on the ending, which isn't a song, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Eminem might.
But like, I honestly think that no, even though he is a character in his game, and it's like wherever he's leaving him or whatnot, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
I don't think it
I
would have
get
been Eminem's album without at least an
Something
acknowledgement.
weird.
All right.
4 out of
so
5.
I guess that wraps up this review. For me, this album is a pure classic, but it's also like a nostalgic classic. So take my enthusiasm with a grain of salt. I gave this a 4.5375, and I think it's maybe objectively a little worse than the Marshall Mathers LP because of Drips. And if Drips wasn't there, it would be a lot easier to say it because there was a bad song on this album, and I can't ignore that fact. Otherwise, it's fucking the best. This is definitely, if I were to say, Holden, what are your top 5s? This is in my top 5.
Wow.
And I think it's an incredible album. It's a huge inspiration in my life, and I would listen to this any day.
Nice.
Without Drips.
I gave this, it is a classic album. So I give it a 4.175. I didn't go so far, but I mean, it's good. It's perfect. It's a classic. It definitely deserves a listen, and it deserves to have at least maybe, I don't know, half of the album on your like Spotify or whatever. You know, I don't want to say Spotify.
It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely listen to it.
Like on the Big Crit album. It's a classic.
14 songs. I gave this album a 4.6. It is a classic. It's finally nice to actually have fully heard the other songs on the album. I
Yeah.
mean, I like I said, I've seen all of the singles repeatedly. So it was pretty cool. as well, like they said, go check it out. Go understand what's happening with Eminem, and then maybe everything that he's doing now might be a little bit more clear.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching this review. Let's hope Revival drops soon. If you want to see Revival drop, let us know. In fact, just tell us whatever you want in the comments.
Make
we
sure you
enjoy it.
subscribe so you enter the contest.
And like the video if you liked it. I mean, if you don't like it, you can dislike it, but then, yeah, you can do what you want. We hope that you
Quickly evaded the dislike. He was like, "You can but do what you want."
you can do what you want. I'm an open person. Feel free to criticize it. Not everyone's a fan of my beard. I've learned shit. You know, people tell you stuff in the comments.
Guys,
And-
tell me you don't like his beard on
Oh,
Twitter.
and Chris would like to let you know that if you tweet him, he'll show you the tweet. He'll make me show you the tweet on the video. So feel free to tweet Chris if you're still around. And if you're still here, seriously, this is a long one. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hashtag join the combo.
Hashtag Chris kills hashtags. On that note, we'll catch
Hashtag
you.
we're out.